obviously, so I'm locked in for the rest of the year, and I'm like,
When you say locked in, what do you mean? Like just
everyday streaming, making as much content as possible. We all know if you're an internet creator, the last 3 months of the year, you have to be locked in. It's like tax season for accountants. You get what I mean? So it's like, I'm locked in every day. She's been on my ass, like, when we going on a trip, I've been telling her like, like every time she always has her passport on her, she's thinking like, we're about to go to Bali or something. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm not going there. There's no time to chill. So like coming here, it's like perfect. It's like the perfect time to, for her, it could be like a vacation, but I know I'm going to come here and I'm going to still be working, collaborating like that. And then I'm on like Sneeko stream yesterday and we're at the fight sitting front row and she's like, this is not as fun as I thought it would be because I want to spend time with you, but you're like working still. I'm like, damn, like for me, work is fun, right?
Yeah, for me too.
But like, obviously, she wants to like, just do the couple thing, which makes sense, you know what I mean? And even yesterday, she thinks we're only going to live stream at the fight. We come back, we're at a restaurant. Crazy live stream yesterday. Like, we pulled up on, like, so I pulled some random girls to just come talk to Sneeko. Happened to find the two that were in there.
What?
Yes. One was in High Limit, and one was just sitting by the bar. Because I'm like, fuck it. I'm just going to be W Wingman and just go get him a girl.
And when you find out that's the question.
His security. First of all, this is Vegas, and like, as much as sometimes, I won't say I'm like the most seasoned around the block type of dude, but like, no dummy. Yeah. But his security was just like, listen, he called it initially. Because he's like, that's a problem. How do you know? He says, look, cheap shoes, small bag, expensive dress, sitting at the bar, close to High Limit alone.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Come on. Yeah. What do you think this person's doing?
Yeah.
Get what I mean? So we actually, it was like W content. Like, so my other man ran into one of them. We ran into one of them. She peeped the whole thing that we're like kind of live streaming. They text each other. Like, within like about 20 seconds of us turning our head around, literally, they both just disappeared. Like, seriously, I'm serious.
You gotta get the fuck out of here.
Got the fuck on out of here. And honestly, it's the first time I've ever like cognizantly identified like a call girl. I don't even know, is it an escort prostitute?
Yeah, probably like a high level like chick probably.
Yeah, so out here. So it's the first time I've like, kind of like identified them while they're working. But anyway, obviously, it's just content creation. Like I'm here with you. Of course, I'm like, let's do some shit with Brad.
Yeah.
But and that's the thing about having a relationship. You're not in a relationship, are you?
I have a girlfriend. I don't talk about it too much, but yeah.
Damn, how does that work? Because you got to be all over. It's the creator life is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But
kind of insane.
But for me, it's the only fun I have. Like if I go right now to Mexico, right? I go to Cancun. Say I'm staying for 2 weeks, bro. I'm dying of boredom 2 days in. Like there's nothing to do. Like I can't.
Just sitting there chilling.
Yeah, in my mind constantly is work. But it's not work to me. It's like life.
Yeah, I get it.
Like, obviously I'm in the hip hop space, so I run a media company there. But like that has consumed me for the last like 10 years, where I'm a little odd. That's my fun.
How old are you?
32.
Okay, yeah, 34. I'm curious. This is really interesting for me to have this conversation because, like, definitely a large part of my life, like I grew up in the whole content space pretty much. Like I've been doing it for like 13 years, coming on 14 years. And for sure in relationship to relationships, personal, in regards to like being a part of my life and then my life being so intertwined with fucking.
She a little crazy though.
How long you been with her?
Like about 2 years. I'm gonna tell you why she look crazy because like sometimes you have to do things for content. It's not like even like some fake shit. It's just like I gotta be a wingman for my mans right now. You know what I mean? Right. Like I'm being a wingman. I'm not disrespecting you. I'm not trying to whatever. But like it's like it's content.
She still get mad.
A little bit.
I feel like you guys were talking about this shit like on the way here.
No. We were talking about it last night.
Last night,
for real.
I feel like it's low key like a little therapy, like right here.
No, of course a little therapy.
She looking a little mad right now.
Nah. She's not.
Okay.
Mad. By the way, I that's why I like your show though. Every time I watch your show, you're one of the most reasonable YouTubers that's level-headed. I don't know if it's because of age or it's just because of just that thing that allows you to kind of see both sides. Yeah. And have a logical path to try to figure out a solution. But that's what I like when I watch, RawTalk. Like, I'm like, that's dope. And seen you and Steve. I've seen you and many other creators. I'm like, giving like pretty solid advice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I don't know if that comes to age.
Also, I've been in the game just from the beginning, man. Like, it wasn't like now people get into it because it's a thing to do. But like, granted, I got put on in the YouTube space, FouseyTube. This was like years ago when I first started. But I was already in like the creator space in Instagram before like Instagram was like popping. Like one of the first creators like in the fitness space with like 10,000 followers type shit. This is back in 2011.
Yeah.
So I've been in the game, and I think I've just experienced so many ups and downs and so many like, you know, you just deal with different types of people who they come into your life for this, they come into your life for that, and you just deal with a lot of that kind of shit. And I just know what the game is at this point. And I've been through so much business because I've handled all my own business. I've done all my own management, never had a manager. It's always been me. So I've had to deal with lawyers. I've dealt with people. I've always been front end, back end, everything. So for me, it's easy to give this sort of advice because like I live it. Like I've really been through it. And I've been through anything you could think of in regards to like business and management. I helped other creators, like brought up a lot of other creators. And you know, you've dealt with it all, like all the shit.
What do you look at it as now in terms of, is it work or is it fun?
So it's like my life, man.
Yeah.
So that's what I was going to talk to you about, though. We started talking about this relationship thing. I've had such a hard time balancing that part because, just like you said, it's fun to you and it's like it's your life and you enjoy it. I love it.
Yeah.
You know, and I think like obviously, as I age, I think I'll continue to do this podcast stuff. You know, I don't know how much live streaming shit I'll do forever, and I don't know how many YouTube videos I'll continue to do. I'll probably pop in here or there, but like, I'm not gonna be fucking 45, 50 years old and doing live streams.
Yeah.
I don't know though, but then I don't know because like the way, I didn't think I was gonna be necessarily doing this then, and it's just the way things evolve, and that's like kind of the beauty in this whole thing is like, there is no exact way to do it, and it's even though it's kind of not fresh, brand new anymore, it's still brand new. Like it's still like continues to progress. Like how, like you see it as a creator and you've been doing it for years now.
Yeah.
You know, vlogs were popping, and then like this, then they kind of fell out. Then this was more popping, and now podcasts were popping. Then they kind of like went like this, and they come back, and then now live streaming is like the thing that everyone's trying to do. It's like there's no like this is how it's gonna go.
Yeah, I mean, yesterday was like pretty pivotal for me. I kept trying to explain to her. I was like, hey, listen, I've never done an IRL stream before. Like, I'm the guy who streams at my computer for hours on end. You know what I mean? And I'm like this hip hop commentator / media person in the cultural space where I have takes and I'm kind of also delivering the news in like an informative way. And like yesterday, it was like a little bit like adrenaline was pumping. It was just like I felt like I was like living again in a sense because when you're kind of sitting there and you're like in front of the screen and you're just kind of entertaining, and yes, you see the chat going crazy and people love it, it kind of could become stagnant. Yeah. And yesterday I was just like, I've been flirting with the idea, like, for example, my boy Silky, he says he wants me to do an IRL stream with him. And I'm like, could I do some of this IRL stuff? And I'm not talking about like full time, but like just mix it up a bit. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because I think at this point, my audience doesn't really complain like, hey, do other stuff. Because they kind of look at me as a guru for what I do, right? So I'm pretty sure like the people who love it for fitness are going to be like, yo, dude, like, we want to hear about like sports, you know what I mean? Because they're like, no, we don't come to you for that, right?
Yeah.
But like you always kind of have to reinvent yourself. That's the only way you stay in this thing.
Absolutely.
Stay hungry, stay passionate, and actually last like 10 years plus in the game. When I think about like people like even like Fousey, like who's obviously been in the 10 years, I think sometimes the regular audience.
15 years.
Yeah. I was watching when he was daily vlogging.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
to come back, he came back into space and he honestly changed IRL streaming. I mean, he changed streaming.
Yeah.
When he came, which is crazy. Because guys like Aiden, Kai, everyone these guys been doing it, crushing it. Even though he didn't get the same. I mean, he got insane numbers. These guys have like done it they've sustained those numbers for a lot longer because they've been doing it. The way he came in and like you saw Aiden, you saw all these other like streamers who are popping currently are like, oh, maybe I should start doing some IRL because they saw what he did.
He went absolutely crazy. But Fousey's always been a great case study for me. and you know,
for a lot of different reasons.
Well, yeah. Well, respectfully speaking, is because
I love him.
I know he's so passionate, and I know he's so committed to try to be on top and try to really be pushing the envelope. Is that I've seen sometimes his life or his health is even taken. Those disadvantages or like those consequences, and I've thought about it myself because like, is there such thing as I've always thought about that. I remember watching Casey Neistat and Fousey
me too.
And Roman Atwood.
Yeah.
Right. Well, actually, Roman and Fousey were going at the same time, and I remember saying they're daily vlogging every day.
Every day.
And I was just like, there has to be a burnout factor.
Oh, yeah.
I remember talking to Kai even the other day. You know, he's about to do this crazy thing, 7 days in like in a jail cell or whatever.
Yeah,
Yo, his foot has been on the fucking pedal for forever. And I've warned him. I said, listen, because I remember when Aiden got there, and I'm like, yo, there is such a thing as burnout. Like, I remember when I got there, there was a time I used to do 7 videos a day. And then it got to a point where I was like, I was happy with doing 7 videos a week. Do you get what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
And it's one of those cycles where, like, you're always trying to reinvent and kind of recreate that thing that keeps your passion, but also you're trying to live, right? You're trying to live and feel like you're being fulfilled because, of course, like any creator who's watching this and you've never got to anywhere, like you're probably just thinking like, yo, bro, I'm just trying to get to the bag. Like these guys living a great life.
Yeah.
But then you kind of become almost a hamster on the wheel.
100%.
And then
no one realizes that.
Put it like this. I'll give you an example. Like I remember not like YouTube was going crazy. YouTube was busting. Like I was doing great on YouTube for like a really long while. And I'm like, I get to start buying some of the good luxury stuff that comes with it. Man, I have like these expensive cars that just sit in the garage because I'm streaming all the time. Like I'm talking to XQC while we're downstairs, and he's like, yo, he's telling me about all the good shit he has, and I'm like, yo, it's not like we have all these things and we're really just taking advantage of it all the time. It's yeah, I guess they're trophies, but like, bro, for the most part, we're just working because now we have a fan base, we have an audience that just depends on you, and you can't be like, hey, listen, I'm about to just go goes for, and it's so competitive. You can't be like, hey, I'm taking a month off, or like, hey, this is paternity leave, motherfuckers, I'll catch y'all. Like you can't do that.
Yeah.
So I've noticed is like, you know, sometimes a lot of things like in my career, the great things that I've, you know, that came with success, I don't think I've benefited from. You know, obviously, like, you know, you live in a decent house or a good house, or, you know, you're comfortable and you don't have to worry about money necessarily, but like enjoying it. Shoot, like I sent my mom and my brother on a vacation like the other day. They wanted me to come so bad, but I'm like, no, I gotta grind.
Yeah.
I'm 10 years in. I'm like, yeah, I gotta grind.
Yeah.
They just wanted a week of just like, yo, family time chilling with me. But I'm like, nah, like this is grind time.
Bro.
And of course I'm glad that they're enjoying it, but sometimes I think when people or fans are looking at the creators and they don't understand why burnout sometimes happens, is like, yeah, you see all this great stuff, but it's not as glamorous as it is. It's people constantly, and you know, competition's a real thing. Like you're probably always looking at someone else who's kind of coming up, and then you're looking at yourself like, hey, am I being stagnant? Am I regressing?
Well, it's also crazy since like on that topic right there is like these platforms themselves also favor newer up and coming accounts and not accounts that necessarily have been along. Like this is on YouTube, Instagram, everything. Cause like, it's almost like once you get it, not that you can't continue to grow, but like, I think for some reason the platforms themselves obviously they want more and more people to feel like, you know, like the TikTok effect. You post some TikToks, you go viral, you're like, I gotta do this shit more. Because they want more content because they're competing with all the other platforms. So like if you're giving like new life to these like creators that are coming up and they're kind of popping, they're gonna be hooked the same way that I was hooked 10 years ago. Cause like, for example, on Instagram, bro, I used to post like twice a day years ago. Like I started literally in 2011. I used to post twice a day. Bro, I post like once a month now, maybe once every 2 months. And I wanna get back to that, like not twice a day, but I'd like to post a couple times a week. Because like I know that if I don't, like I won't grow. Yeah. But it's interesting to see that like, you know, I got that burnout on Instagram heavily. And then like, obviously all my other content went other places, but the platforms themselves literally favor new creators. So like, if you're an older creator, you have to fucking grind, bro, differently.
And I think also there's a meta, right? Like there's always a constant changing thing where it's like, if you want to excel in views right now in a live streaming wave, you have to do IRL. That's the only thing that's gaining numbers, right? Yeah. Usually as creators, like, you know, I remember the biggest advice I gave to Aiden. I remember he was like, he had a dip. He was doing almost like 100,000, and he kind of dipped down to about like 30,000 concurrent, which by the way is still amazing. But for his psyche, like this is a younger kid who just like rocket fueled out of here. And I remember telling him, I'm like, yo, listen, there was a time where I was like a slave to the analytics page. Whereas like month on month, like you're looking at if it's a plus or a minus. Bro. Or you're looking at that top 10 videos, and it's like, yo, you drop a video and it's 4 hours in, it says 10 out of 10. You're like, yo, this is crazy. Yeah. I heard Kyle talk about that too.
Delete the channel.
Yo, so it's just one of those things where like, you almost kind of feel, and there's like people watching this right now saying like, yo, dude, like this is like rich the problem. But
I know they're definitely thinking that's some.
mentally, I do know what is the toll is taken if you're gonna last in for a long time.
Well, hold
you're
on.
gonna sacrifice.
You're
so much.
right. Some people would say that, but we have to give it perspective, right? Like, it's easy to say that, oh, this is like a rich person problem, whatever. But like the reality is, in every person's life, like whatever the job is, 9 to 5 doesn't matter. Like there's levels to it, and like you're dealing with like that sort of stress. It just can be completely not the same as someone else is stressing with like a 9 to 5 and have to deal with their like shit employees or whatever. It's all relative. You know what I'm saying? Like there's no like, oh, it's just a rich guy problem. It's like, it's just a human problem where you go, this is the thing that I'm doing for work. This is the thing that I'm doing for business. And I have to constantly, like this platform is making me feel like, because in relationship to everything else, I have to constantly be one-upping myself. Otherwise you feel that and you see that like numbers go down, money goes down, view go down. And it's like, that's a one thing that's so interesting that I don't know if people really get, but like if I chose a 9 to 5, that's all I got to do. I got to show up. Now, I'm not saying that's necessarily what I want or that's better. And here, it's all relative to what you really want. But it's like, you could show up and just do your job. This job is a little different because it's like, you have to be the one pushing the thing forward, pushing the content, pushing the narrative. Like, you create every step forward. There's no like, I show up and just do what I'm supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? And it gets, because then you got to deal with that stress. Then you got to deal with like the number stress. Then you got to deal with the personal life stress. And I'm not complaining because I love this shit. Yeah. And I love the sweat and I love trying to be better. And I love seeing when I fuck up, can I get better? But it's all relative. So, you know, someone watching this, it's the same sort of stress you might have if you're like, yeah, I got to go and deal with motherfucker Jeff at the shop and this guy's annoying as fuck, but I got to do it because I got to get this paycheck because I got to pay these bills and I got to, you know, help my mom. Like it's the same sort of shit. It's just a different level of it.
I agree.
You know?
I agree with that. I agree. What I've been excited about recently is that, you know, I did content pretty much solo without collaborating for like years. Like
I noticed that about you. We're gonna talk about
it was just like this one man island army type of like mentality. And then, you know, like first of all, I'm bad with networking. Like it was last time I'm on live stream with Sneeko and I gave him advice and I was like, I wish I could give myself that advice 10 years ago. I was just like, yo, you seen Deontay Wilder? And I was like, yo, bro, just go say what up to him. And who knows, maybe he wants to get on your stream or your podcast or whatever the case is. And that could be something that's beneficial for you. Yo, I would never do that. Like 10 years, I would never do that. I'm the guy who I was just like, yo, listen, you know, I had a bad experience coming into the industry. I was chasing around these hip hop interviews and it was like, at that time, it was like these people on these reality shows that were connected to hip hop, but not really.
Who was number one at the time in interviewing?
It was probably Charlamagne the God.
Okay.
Charlamagne the God was probably still like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm glad that I'm mentioned in the same breath as him these days.
Yeah.
But back then, I remember just like running around trying to get these interviews and I called out of work. I had a regular job. I called out of work like 10 times and people were just disrespecting my time. And the way I popped off through this whole thing was it was my last resort. I said, I'm chasing collaborations and interviews and bro, like I'm losing money. I'm about to get fired. If people can't appreciate me for me, this is not gonna work. And I just stopped going for interviews and I just started making solo videos.
Yeah, that's so fucking key, man.
And that's the shit that blew me up. And you know what I mean? I still wonder to this day, I'm like, yo, imagine if like I did that for 6 months, I was like, yeah, they're still not checking for you, bro. Right? But luckily it worked. And yeah, ever since then I was just like, yo, let me not ever rely on someone else. But it pigeonholed me because then I stopped wanting to even collaborate. Right?
Yeah.
I just went on an island like, okay, I do these things and I don't work with anyone. Until I got to like 2017, I did a hip hop show with Joe Budden, which like I credit that experience for, you know, before that I used to do voiceovers. I was like almost like a commentary channel, didn't even show my face.
Yeah.
I do that show and I'm collaborating with his audience that was different than mine. I had a lot of young kids that loved hip hop. He had a lot of older people. And we had a couple viral moments, like there was like the Migos moment at the BET Awards. And after that, it was just like, it put me in a different stratosphere in like recognizability and just where everything was. I started realizing you do have to collaborate. Yeah. And, you know, even now, like, you know, even coming out here, like normally, I'm telling you, I would never like say a TwitchCon saving this. Like, you know, obviously, well Rumble invited me out. So like, you know, I love them, so I was definitely gonna come out to show love. But usually I'm not the mixy type of guy.
Yeah.
So like it's the first time we've met.
Yeah, it is.
Right?
Yeah.
The first time we've met, like I'm like really, and I think because I'm also polarized in the hip hop space. So anytime I walk into a room, I think people hate me. So I'm not gonna talk to you.
You get a lot of hate.
Yeah, I do get a lot of hate. Yeah.
Like what? So why do you think it is? Just because I mean, bro, it's because you're just a human. You got your opinion.
Yeah. So I don't. Obviously some of the hate is unwarranted, but over time, you get to realize it's like it comes with the territory.
Yeah.
Right. If you're gonna have these opinions that are super polarized or these hot takes that might put other people in a negative light, no one's gonna just be like, oh, we just respect him because he's telling the truth. Like usually with humans, it's like if you say what you believe is your honest opinion about something, if it's favorable to someone, they'll be like, yo, Brad's keeping it real. He's a real dude, bro, right? But like obviously if you say something that goes against him, they're gonna be like, yo, this dude's a f***ing hater. You know what I mean? I don't like this guy. So
sounds like something that I'm
what I heard about it. We just so with me, it became one of those, and I'm gonna tell you another reason why I became so like polarized and like disliked. It was like because I didn't have those relationships with people, it was easier to just speak as a fan.
Yeah.
Hey, that's not good. I don't like it. These days, like I get like the rappers who are rolling out, they're calling me, like they're trying to butter you up. Yo, you come to my show, blah, blah, blah. Not when they drop their music,
crazy.
They're kind of looking at you like, yo, dog, like I gave you this whole experience at my show, blah, blah, blah. You're going to call my shit whack?
You still got to be honest.
Kai's going through that now. Kai just had a whole stream with Offset, 48 hours. He listens to the album for some of the tracks. He's like, I don't think this is it. Trust me, Offset's hitting him like, yo, dog, like how could you say that? Like I was at your house for 48 hours, bro.
But you got to be honest though.
Hey, and we talked about that briefly last night. So rappers to me are influencers, but rappers are like the most narcissistic of any influencers you'll ever meet.
For sure.
Where the world, like the sun revolves around them. And yeah, so dealing with those people, like you're saying I'm being honest. They're like, your honesty, like you're my man. Don't even say it. If you don't like it, keep it quiet. You get what I mean? That's how they take it, right? Okay, if you don't like it, don't verbalize it because now, and I've had this conversation with many of them. Oh, you're gonna influence other people that watch you to not like my stuff, and if we're friends, why would you want to do that?
Yeah.
And you're like, well, it's kind of like been my thing. That's why I even got to know you, right? I've been giving my opinion, good or bad, and I got to know you, and I'm now giving my opinion, good or bad. But now you don't like it anymore.
Yeah, be like that. It's crazy. So what do you think about the Joe Budden and the Drake thing? Him giving his opinion on that.
Oh, that was kind of interesting, bro. So,
because he didn't like the album. Because what I saw was like he's saying that basically like Drake should be singing about some other because he's older. That's kind of what I got out of it.
Yes and no.
And I feel like that guy goes way back.
Yeah, they have some personal shit. All right. This is the Drake conversation that's happening now. And I'm not one of the biggest Drakes. Like,
Yeah,
I
me
mean,
too.
I'm like, I have these viral clips of like, there's a viral clip of like Sicko Mode when I had no idea he was on it, like me fucking freaking out when I hear Drake's voice.
Yeah, I saw that.
And
I saw that.
I'm one of those like day one Drake fans. But what happens when you have an artist as great as Drake for so long, and it probably happens with internet creators or like just creators in general, you start feeling like they belong to you. To give a comparison, it's probably the same way how the day one Nelk fans feel about Nelk. Like they'd probably be like, yo, hey, listen, we know what Nelk is.
Yeah.
And if you need to give us this for us to be satisfied, while, like Colin and everybody, they're growing and they're doing different things, right? Yeah. And at a point, the creator or like the rapper in a sense almost loses the control of their own career because their fans are pigeonholing them into what they want from them.
Yeah.
We want this. So the older fans like me, the day ones for Drake, we're all saying, yo, we love these 3 albums here. Nothing Was the Same. Take Care.
Oh, man.
We want that type of style of music, right? And someone told me the best thing, I've repeated this like a million times so far. Unfortunately, hip hop age is such a fucking important factor where it's all about the youth. It's the youth, the youth, the youth. Drake turned 37 2 days ago, right? And granted, in the scheme of life, that is not old. It is not old to be 37. But in hip hop, you're not seen as trendy. You're not seen as the young guy anymore. And someone told me this about Drake, which I think this is exactly what happened. He's at a fork in the road where he has to either choose to kind of keep his music appeasing to his older fans and grow with them, right? Because they're the people like, yo, I remember 10 years ago when you dropped this. So like you're almost trying to keep like doing sequels to what they like, right?
Yeah, I get it.
Or you're going to be like, yo, listen, there's new 16 to 21-year-olds that like this different sound.
There's a yeet.
That like the yeets and shit like that.
One.
And I'm going to go make music that's going to appeal to them, right? It's a very complex thing. The only caveat about that, which I learned about just age, and I think it's going to apply to all creators if you want to be in this a long time. If you continually chase the youth, they'll never love you as much as the other guy that's now young. The people who love that sound of Yeet, yeah, they like that Drake is going into his world and doing songs with Yeet, but they'll never love Drake as much as they love Yeet. Just like I would never love Yeet as more than I love Drake. You know what I mean?
I get you.
Like Drake is Drake to me. To them, Drake is the guy who's decent with Yeet. You get what I mean? Like they're not looking at Drake like, oh, this is the GOAT with Yeet. They're like, no, Yeet's the GOAT. Like the 16-year-old is not looking at Drake like that.
It's just different generation, man.
And it's about which way you look. So the Joe Budden thing, I think he gave a valid critique, but he fucked up. He made it personal. And I talked to Drake about this. And when I talked to Drake, I had critiques too because I'm one of those day one fans. And I was shocked by his response to Joe, but he clarified it to me. He said, yo, check this out. I don't mind if you criticize my music. I've been in this a long time.
Yeah.
So when I dropped Take Care, a lot of people said that was soft. But the times are changing. And years later, they called it classic. So he's one of those people that say, I'm down for you to trash it at first, but come back around later.
Yeah.
He got mad at Joe over personal attacks. He's like, yo, you're hanging with little niggas, like little kids, and you're just these little young girls, which, you know what I mean? Like, again, that's where the ageism comes in. Like, if you're like a guy near 40 and someone just randomly says, yo, you're just the little 20-year-old girls.
Yeah,
it
what he
seems
talked
weird,
about is like,
right?
why are you saying that?
Yeah. So I think that's where that comes in. But for me, when I talked to Drake about it, I was just like, I just wanted to make sure that I call him the greatest artist of all time. I need to make sure that he was in the space where he still could be criticized. I thought he was just like, he felt objectionable to anything that was criticism. He's like, no, that's not what it is.
Yeah, he cooked him in that response on Instagram. It was really fucking, he really cooked him. Like the whole thing, it was bad.
Well,
like word for word, he just went, it was bad.
That was one of those, this is why Drake is also good too. Like on a cerebral level, like he's gonna break down your whole career. He's like, yo, like you're the definition of what a failure is. Someone who couldn't do it, then quit. Like,
and now talks about it.
Yeah, and that stings. You get what I mean? Like he said shit there that stung, and that's why I also knew I'm like unbeknownst to people, like I think there's like maybe some mutual girls in the mix back in the day with that. It's always
probably,
that. Yo,
probably,
no, there is. Like there's been like raps about your shit. Like it's always some girls in the mix. So that's why I was like, you know what? Stay out of this Joe Budden shit a little bit.
Yeah. You know what's interesting too with the Drake stuff, like going back on music and being like, oh, this hits. I felt the same way about Honestly Nevermind. At first I was like, I'm not with this. And I'm a huge Drake fan. And then I listened to it like months later and I got this shit like play by play, like on repeat.
Fuck with it now.
Nah, I love it. It's just a completely different vibe. Like it was just something, and I guess that's what must be so hard in the music space is like, because if this is the crazy thing, the people who are like, yo, we want old Drake, right? Drake's gonna post some old, like say he made some music that was like his old stuff, and it's gonna be like, this is the same shit you already made. It's like the same people who say we want the old stuff.
Yeah.
If he did that, they'd be like, bro, why are you making the same music? It's such a weird thing. So as an artist, it's like me looking in, obviously I'm not a fucking artist, but they obviously have to keep progressing with the times, with the music. They can't, like, just like a creator, can't make the same fucking bench press video. Like, I can't be a fitness guy and be like, this is how you bench every fucking week. You got to make something new. And for these like high level artists, it's like every single motherfucker in the world is looking at them like, what's next? And like it's like they have to be so precise with the way they make the music going forward. At the same time, like you said, like not stepping on the toes of the beginning fans and like trying to move forward with the new fans. So it's like, obviously it's a hard situation. But it is funny to see like the beef and like the personal, like with those guys, like, and see how they just go at each other. I just think it's hilarious.
Yeah, no, hip hop is a very interesting place. You know, for the longest while, I think I never really kind of like got commingled with the YouTube like influencer community because like I was like in this rap community.
Yeah.
And like I'm going more at rappers and stuff like that. Like these guys are dissing me in records and shit like that. Like
Yeah, no, it's
so it's like, but it's just harder to traverse in that type of area because I'm telling you, man, like you're dealing with these people with like the biggest egos on the planet, man.
Yeah.
Like I was telling you about like we're talking about the whole Steve thing with 6ix9ine. And I'm like,
yeah.
Yo, Steve was mad at me because I talked about it, right?
I saw that.
And I kind of laughed at it a bit, but not that I'm like, yo, I'm glad you got f***ed over in a sense, but it was just like, yo, if you like, you're probably very new to dealing with rappers, but like this is like textbook play 101.
All right, guys, quick interruption for the podcast. Shipstation, check this out. If you guys are like an aspiring entrepreneur, if you have an e-commerce business currently, and you're looking for basically an app that's gonna help you do all your mailing, so it's super efficient, it's super easy, Shipstation's got your back. I personally worked with Shipstation, I wanna say for like 6 years when I first started my business. Easily one of the best platforms for managing mailing. Check it out, Shipstation. It's very, very simple, very convenient, easy customer service, easy everything. Plugs in real easy to Shopify, any sort of like e-commerce background. Go to shipstation.com, use code RawTalk right now to get 60 days free. That's 2 months to see like, yo, if you like it. And then obviously I know you will, so give it a shot. I love you guys. Get back into this podcast.
Yeah, you had to know.
Yeah, like these I wouldn't do it to save my life. You know what I mean? And also
Work with them, you mean? Like work with them in that
I wouldn't do
sense.
business.
Right.
It's interesting, like even with that, because also I get hammered with this question. I don't know if you had anyone particularly, maybe in your life that you've been asked this about. Because even my own audience would be like, yo, they'll hear things about like 6ix9ine and like, which will be indictments on like your personality or like it's just character flaws. And they'll be like, hey, why are you friends with him? And somehow, some way, I still could see those redeeming qualities. I'm like, yo, I'm still my guy. I know he's like, I wouldn't do business with him, but he's still my boy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's one of those things, and that's been the toughest thing to answer because they're like, yo, how can this be your friend while he's f***ing other people over? Or how can he be your friend if he's blah, 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 blah? And sometimes I don't know if the answer I give is weak because I'll be like, hey, listen, like, because he's my friend, I know not to do business with him. Now, do I agree with what he does in business with anyone else? No, right?
Yeah.
But I don't get in those situations with him. And my friendship with him is compartmentalized where it's never business. It's just always
It's like you know what it is and it stays there.
And I'm wondering if you've ever had like either relationships or even maybe in like this influencer space where you're dealing with someone who may have certain flaws that other people like consistently call out, but you're like, hey, no, I could this person within these like almost.
I don't know about like other people consistently calling out, but I definitely could speak from a place where like I've been in the industry long enough to have been in relationships and have like sometimes in relationships where like I know that I'm not always like someone doesn't always have my back, and I'm fully aware of it, and I'm okay with it because I know like I can know what it is, and like you said, still be in that space and be like, well, I know that there's a benefit here for them. I know there's a benefit here for me, so like I'll just keep my mouth shut, like because it does me more damage or it creates more issue to like make something more of a problem. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I've definitely been in spaces. I've definitely had like pseudo business relationship friendships that are like, because there could be benefits that go this way. Sometimes a little more there, a little less here, like a little less towards me, a little more towards them, whatever you want to call it. Where like, I'm just like, it is what it is. I'd rather not ruffle feathers and I'd rather not make this more of an issue. Like despite all the things that I know and all the stuff that I've seen and I just kind of like, I don't care as much. Like, because I know that in this space, if we're talking about the creator space, everyone's just trying to like do it. They're all trying to climb. They're all trying to move up. They're all trying to go up. The thing that I was trying to actually make, the point that I was making, if you watch the whole stream, what I was talking, it was in regards to the question you asked earlier about this whole like, where's the line with the OF girl thing?
Yeah.
All I was saying was, listen, because in this space, like The reality is this. Girls get views. Everyone knows that. Girls know that, guys know that, everyone knows that. Whether they're OF girl or they're not OF girl, doesn't matter. Girls get views. You know that, right? Yeah. So if that's true, it's like, okay, we're just never gonna film with girls again? Probably not, very unlikely, right? So if some girl's gonna have OF, what I was trying to say was this. To everyone watching, listen, I was saying on the stream, I was like, don't spend your money on it. Like these people are here regardless, whether I put them in a video, you put them in a video, he put them in a video, or he doesn't, they're there. If a girl's there, right, whether she does OF or not, she's getting followers from it. She's getting engagement, she's getting dudes in the DMs. If she has the OF, they're falling in there, they're spending money. What I was saying was, buy a fucking gym membership, buy some protein powder, do something that's gonna better your life. Like, you like these content creators because they're fun, they have fun, you like to watch them, cool. Don't waste your money on some random shit that's getting you nothing. That's what I said if you watch the whole clip. I said it like 3 times, like, buy a gym membership, get some protein. The reality I was saying was like, I can't control what you do with your money.
If we're in the Cloud Fest, and part of the Cloud Fest is these characters that have OnlyFans, I don't even think it's even worth it to even do disclaimers because, again, they're part of what this culture is. The fans are just going to have to discern, like, hey, I'm going to go this route or not. Because here's the thing. They're bringing, it's not like I can understand if like whoever this person was just like this blood-sucking leech that wasn't bringing value in terms of content or additional viewers, but they are.
That was my point.
And I think everyone who tries to have a stance on it, they're trying to figure out their own moral agenda because they're like, well, if you really think about it, you're help promoting this person who might be who has this product that might work against what you might think is positive for your audience, but you're also using them for views.
That's the point. I'm telling you, we've been saying the same thing. Like, that's the reality. So I was saying, because the reality is that we're not going to stop filming with girls. I don't think any of these live streamers are just going to be all bro fest. Like, people are going to be like, that might be successful a little bit, but not to the degree that a lot of these people want to reach, right? You can't name a single live streamer or influencer or person who hasn't done something. It just doesn't exist. That's got to the level without the opposite sex. Doesn't exist, right? So if that's the case, we're both saying the same thing right now, where it's like, the reality is, yeah, we should just be encouraging our audience to do whatever we think they should do, right? And at the same time, it's also not up to us. Like, we put out there, say like, hey, I don't think you guys should support this, period. Like, and that's where it gets me. And I want to talk to the guys from Fresh and Fit about this as well. The guys from Fresh and Fit about this as well. But that same concept too is interesting to me, where it's like, it's always on them, but like without them, there's no show. If you really put in perspective,
they are the ones that bring the fluff to the.
The show does that show.
Oh, the after hours show. So they do 2 shows.
Like, obviously, without those guys, right? Yeah. The show doesn't exist. Those guys are super smart, super sharp. But without, like, that was the thing that blew them up, was the girls.
Yeah, no, of course.
That you see the Tay, you see I was there, tons, everyone's there, right? And they crush it. But without those girls, the show doesn't exist.
Yeah.
So there's no, like, we can't deny that fact. You can't just say, no, that's not true, because it's just a bunch of bros there. It's not true. Now, with that being said, they do encourage, and they say, guys, they're encouraging guys, you should be focusing on this, you should be focusing on that. These other things are actually going to make you have benefit in your life and not be worried about this or that. Like, they're doing good work. So it's hard to find the line of like, how do you exactly play in this field? There is no real line except other than saying like, hey guys, I don't support it.
Hey, listen, it's a little facetious because at the end of the day, it's business, man. Like, it's when you really look at it business wise, it makes sense for the women to be on there, but it makes sense. Like, again, all of these shows, whether it's like Fresh and Fit After Hours or like, shoot, if it was like, say, Neon was gonna have a girlfriend, he's not gonna have like a 500-pound whale that was unattractive. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, it's gonna be an attractive woman. Like, that is their value, right? Like, hey, Fresh and Fit's gonna pick the most attractive women. A lot of them seemingly have only if they're open to be on these public forums to talk about relationships, right? Again, I don't like when people try to do the thing like, hey, listen, we're both using each other in a way, but the entire part of the content is gonna be, I'm gonna shit on you. Like, I'm gonna tell people you're a piece of shit, while in reality I'm using you as well, right? Like, you just gotta accept it for what it is, and you don't have to agree with it.
Yeah.
Right? Like I've sat in debate with people who like on an ideological level, I don't agree with them at all. But they might have an audience that disagrees with mine.
Yeah.
They're bringing a whole different section of the audience. We're using each other. Like, what's the problem?
And then in regards to the Neon and Sam thing, just to talk about it, like I've talked to, because at first I was like, this chick's using him, right? Because this is what it looks like from the outside until you get closer and closer. And regardless, she's still using him, but we can't deny the fact that he's also using her in ways, right? Because I talked to him about this more, even on and off stream. And I start to realize, like, dude, she takes care of him, and she's like booking his flight. She's like being like almost like a really super glorified assistant that he probably gets to cuddle with, and she's probably really sweet to him. And who knows what the they're doing behind closed doors? I don't care. I don't judge. You know, I know he talks about he's not doing any of that stuff, but like it is what it is. They're probably cuddling and shit. He's probably like he has a companion. Her, I don't know. I believe it. I believe that.
Come on, man.
I believe that, and I said that to him. I believe it. Regardless, I don't care.
Yo, this IRL streaming shit is like just a reality show, man. Like, listen, I think fans are believe. Yo, let me tell you this. I watch, like, anytime I see a man and a woman, like, I'll see you on screen with any woman, or even I'll see Sneeko, like, because I watch his stuff a good amount, and they're like putting them in relationships. It's like it's reality TV. It's like you see a man and a woman who you feel like in your mind they're compatible, and you wanna like play this in hip hop. In hip hop, if you want to take it, if you're like a rapper who's at like a mid-tier level, you want to get to the next level, you gotta get in a relationship, man. You know why? Real talk. Moneybagg Yo, perfect example. Right?
Shit.
Yo, he's chilling. Everything is cool. You know what I mean? Like popular, but he's a hood rapper. Guess what this girl named Ari? She's super popular among women.
Yeah.
She doesn't rap. She doesn't do nothing but twerk. Brings him to a whole fucking nother level. You get what I mean? There is a economy in relationships, and I think when people get invested in the lives, I think that's what social media is.
Yeah.
Like over time, they get like, but she says she's always trying to stay off camera, but there's a whole Reddit dedicated to try to like figure out what the fuck she's doing just because we're together. You get what I mean?
Yeah, I get you.
It intuitively is going to make sense. I don't know why people are acting like this is like oblivious. Like the storyline of Neon, which if you kind of look at him and if he's with this like attractive OnlyFans girl, it's like it's dope. It's like a dope thing to see unfold, even if you have your criticisms about it. It's content. Yeah. Right? Like I hate when people try to do the moral, like the morals thing, because not saying this is like a immoralistic type of environment, but it's just not that serious. It's like everyone's kind of benefiting from each other. Yeah. And the fans are having entertainment.
And let's keep it a buck though, for real. Like there's a lot of shit that people do that they honestly front like they're not doing it, moral signaling everyone else as well. Like people, like we just got to keep it real. Like no one in this game is perfect.
I'm gonna be honest with you. This is why I couldn't be in the world you're in. Because in the rap world, like I fell out with rappers because I've been around them, and I was like, yo, this dude is a gangster. Like this dude says he's a gangster. When I was around him, this is what I seen. Like you're not like, because hip hop is so much about the realness that if someone's just playing a complete act, you're gonna get exposed. But I've realized in the content space, there are people who kind of have these like, hey, you know, I'm like the Martin Luther King of this motherfucker. You know what I mean? Like, yo, I stand for something. And then, you know, their life is a little bit different, which I look at that and I'm like, yo, that's like a tricky game you're playing, because I pride myself on being one way. Like whatever you see on camera, you're gonna see kind of off camera. Yeah. Like, you know, shit. I wouldn't be indulging in an activity if I said like, yo, I don't do these things. For me, it would be like career suicide if people found out I did. Yeah. You know what I mean? But I've realized like this is like a whole Hollywood world to me, man. I look at it and I'm like, yo, I'm like, as long as when I meet you in person, like, you know, I never really try to like do content with really anyone like that in that realm. But I'm like, just be the same way to me. Like, I'm not gonna, you know, go and spill your beans.
You know, it's interesting too, though, because like that's also how I think you create long-term success. Yeah. And I think you have long-term success. And I know I have the same. You're just you regardless. Yeah. Like that's the key in all this. Cause like so many people get into this space now and they always ask, how do I do it? Like, how do I become successful? And I think the biggest key is genuinely being yourself, because everyone wants to do the thing. Like they want to be a streamer. They want to be like in my space. They want to be a fitness person or whatever, right? Like where I came up at. Mm-hmm. and they want to do the thing like a bodybuilder or this or that, but all they think of is the thing that they're doing and not like their genuine relationship to it.
No, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Where it's like, let's say I saw you be super successful as a streamer, and I just want to copy your shit word for word, but it's like not really me. So then people go, oh, this guy's trying to be like this guy, or you'll see people like, oh, that guy's trying to be like Aiden, or that guy's trying to be like Sneak, whatever, right? Or that guy trying to be Bradley Martyn. And it's just kind of like the problem with it, because there's so many people doing it now, like people just go, oh, that works for him, I'm gonna copy it. But the people who have really true success and long-term success, they go, oh, this is the thing that I love, and this is my real reaction, my real perspective, my real relationship to it. And you share that part of it, and not just that you do it.
And that's why my next question to you is, like, even in this IRL space, how long does it last, and when does it kind of either become stale or just kind of like fall apart? Because that's one of the reasons I'm a little hesitant, because I honestly feel like it's not as it to the audience it seems very real, but a lot of it is in the name of content. And once you're doing things in the name of content, things become fabricated, things become exaggerated, and you do lose that realness perspective of it. And then also, I look at some of these streamers, like I was watching this one dude is like, I think it was Jack Doherty. I'm like, yo, these dudes are crashing out every stream. I'm like,
Yeah, you just
this is amazing for like the next few weeks and months. But like in 3 years or like 4 years from now, I'm always thinking like 5 years on. Like I always tell people in broadcasting, bro, I'm trying to do this shit like I'm Howard Stern till I'm 70. You know what I mean?
This kind of shit. Yeah.
Right? Of course.
Yeah.
I want to be here sitting and being able to have these conversations. When you are in like this crash out culture and you're just doing wild shit and like, yeah, your viewers jump 5,000, but in 5 years, those things are going to be forever brought up. It's going to you up on a level where now you're trying to excel, and now you're a little bit older and you're trying to get into the world of brands, and now they're like, well, yo, this is your track record, motherfucker. It's like, yeah,
you were fighting this guy here, you were doing this.
Yes, like, yo, you've been using the F word every 20 seconds, and I look at that and I'm like, how long is this gonna last?
That's not gonna last. I don't think that lasts. I think if you're gonna like run that course like that, you have to be fucking shrewd business person and set something up that's external or like a byproduct of that you can continue to make money from. Because I don't think that sort of content lasts. Like I think because in the content space, unless you have your own brands, like I said, an external source, like I got Raw Gear, I have a clothing company, right? I have Zoo Culture, I have real estate, I have a bunch of other. If all my money was based on my content production, then I would have a really hard time continuing to make more, unless it's just making AdSense stuff. Like brands would be like, oh, it's not brand safe. Like you're fighting this guy. Like this was 2 years ago. You said this, you said that, whatever, right? It's not sustainable. There's no sustainability in it. Like you have to build your own shit. You have to build your shit like outside of it, I think.
That's scary for me while I'm watching everything, because I feel like everyone's in a race to crash the out. And I'm looking at this and I'm like, no matter what people might say about, by the way, there was times that he looked like he was about to crash out, like Jake Paul. Like Jake Paul has lasted for like 10 years and had to pivot a bunch of times, but like, it's still like a behemoth in the content game.
Those guys, Jake and Logan Paul are like forever goated in the space.
And, I don't know if people think about that longevity or like being in the game that long, but as soon as I got in the game and I was like, okay, I'm here, I was thinking about, how do I not lose the spot? How do I continue when inevitably things change from what's popular now that's keeping me alive?
Yeah. You evolve.
Yeah. How do you evolve after you crashed out? And like, I'm telling you, I love watching it. There's a lot of crash outs.
Live streaming is reckless. That's just reckless for sure.
IRL live streaming.
IRL live streaming is reckless. Yeah, I mean, sitting at home, reacting, talking, like you could be a little bit more methodical. But I think when you start to involve other characters in the mix and other people and other personalities, it becomes reckless. Yeah. And also like those guys that you talk about, Jack and all them, and I think of Zerka, you've seen stuff about like these guys are like, dude, he's hilarious as to me.
Yo, but Zerka is the definition, and I love Zerka. I had him on pod. Yo, this guy legit, like all he thinks about, and maybe it's an act, but even when I've talked to him off camera, it's like he's consumed with more clout and more clout. There's not even like a path of, okay, this is how I'm gonna be doing this for 10 years. It's like, how do I increase the clout today?
Yeah, no.
What do I have to
Bro,
do?
I've done 2 pods with them and they blew. They went crazy. He's a crazy person. Insane. I think he's hilarious.
No, I think he's hilarious.
But like, yeah, it's like you're chasing that. And I think it's because, yeah, I mean, just straight up, he's not at a position he wants to be. Like, none of us really are. I think he's just going about it in like a just somewhat reckless. Like, because when I did the pod with him, and he knows this as well, like, I had to edit so much shit.
Yo, I did a pod with him.
So much.
Yo, I did a pod with him for my Spotify exclusive deal, and I did not put it up on YouTube.
Exactly.
Yo,
Exactly.
I was gonna premiere it. No,
Bro.
actually, it was scheduled for premiere.
All right, quick interruption for the podcast. Betterhelp. Listen, I've talked about this many, many times. It never fails to be important. It is always, always important. Mental health over everything, right? Your mental, your body will follow. So guys, listen, if you're dealing with something you need an outside, unbiased perspective, some sort of guidance on, BetterHelp has got your back. Very, very simple, easy to use. You do it right from the convenience of your home. You don't have to drive somewhere. Therapists, everything is low key. It's easy. It's like you don't have to go 45 minutes. Maybe like your therapist is like really far away, or maybe you're a little bit embarrassed about showing up there. None all that stuff's gone. So all that anxiety around doing it is gone. Give it a shot. If you guys have ever thought about needing help, go to betterhelp.com. That's betterhelp.com. Put in code RawTalk. Again, that's BetterHelp, betterhelp.com to get 10% off your first month. Give it a shot. You will not regret it. Let's get back into this podcast.
My audience, like sometimes after you've been in the game a while, like your audience almost become like your handlers in a sense.
Yeah.
They're all hitting me like, yo, everyone's getting demonetized. Like, this shit is going to get you clipped, and I canceled the premiere, bro.
Yeah.
So it's not on YouTube.
I got good editors. Shout out Jacob, bro. He's the GOAT. He's the GOAT.
Like, I mean, I edited out about like 17 like F words. Like, I edited up mad, but it was just like, nah. Like some of the jokes he's saying, I'm like certain things, it's gonna be clipped. I know with me, they clip it all. They clip stuff all the time.
Yeah.
Granted, I'm not saying that, but if they clip that and they're gonna be like, yo, this is what Akademiks allows. You know what I mean? So I got to think about my brand too. So I'm like,
100%.
So I'm like, yo, YouTube now. I let it go.
Well, I saw that clip. I saw that clip of Sneeko going up to Theo Von asking him to be on his pod, and he's like, "Oh, I'm canceled." And he's like, "Well, shit, like we ain't doing. I ain't getting canceled too,
bro." Like, YouTube is targeting certain people. And by the way, like, I've been having this conversation. Like, YouTube. I see what happened to Sniper Wolf. YouTube is using demonetization like a really aggressive like whip. It's like, yo, you fucked up. Like, yo, take these motherfucking lashes. Like, you know what I mean? Like, she got demonetized for 3 months, fresh and fit. Like, completely indefinitely. So what Sneeko did is banned, right? Like, they're becoming way more aggressive with policing the content, and it shook me up. But I told people this was coming way months ago when everyone was celebrating Fresh and Fit's demonetization. They just demonetized Sniper Wolf for off platform behavior.
What? What do you mean? What did she do?
So she showed up to someone's crib. Like, she was in an area, and she was like, I know so-and-so lives here, is another creator. And she showed up, like, in front of his crib and kind of, like, doxed him, like, on Twitter or something like that. And it wasn't on YouTube, though. And basically, everyone was just like, yo, this huge YouTuber is using her audience to dox people, and YouTube stepped in. It didn't happen on YouTube, and said, hey, listen, off-platform behavior does matter. You're demonetized for 3 months.
Holy shit.
So once you start seeing that, yo,
that's got to be somewhere in the agree.
Yo, you know, you ever click on YouTube and you see something and you just gotta accept the terms. Like, it happens
otherwise
on
you can't
apps.
continue.
Yeah. It happens on Instagram every time they gotta figure out a new way to fuck you over, right? So yeah, that made me think. I'm like, holy shit. Like, do you see where
bro? They're gonna start clipping people for live stream stuff. Like, clipping them, not clip and make a clip them off the platform.
Do you put Steve Will Do It stuff on YouTube?
No.
His weird to me. Like, why the f they hate him that much?
I think that one's a lot deeper. I could talk about this one forever, and I'm just not gonna.
Like, what I heard about that was the whole state.com thing. I'm like, yo, is it that serious?
I think it's deeper than that.
Like, you can't have his likeness in a video? That's crazy.
Yeah, at all. Like, he's like completely. But I think I don't know. I hope. I feel that it's gonna change. I do. I feel like it's gonna change.
Nah, I think it's gonna get worse, man.
No. I think for Steve, it's gonna change.
Oh, okay.
And that story is just way deeper. I think it's just there's a lot more to that than just that steak thing. that like you probably will never hear. People will probably never hear.
Well, I'm worried for the platform in general.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Like, I believe YouTube is now exercising its
Martial law.
yeah, it's exercising its power to say, really, we've always told you that we've preferred certain type of content that was super brand
You
safe.
motherfuckers aren't listening.
Yeah, like left leaning this and third.
Yeah.
And some of you motherfuckers must have not gotten the memo. You should have been shaping up and shifting out like a long time ago. Now we're getting you fuck one out of here.
It's tough, man, because like that's just really unfortunate being such a massive platform, Google, YouTube, that it's like how are we having like literally the biggest video platform on the planet being like, yeah, like we're kind of deciding this.
That's why I didn't move to Rumble too. Like I'm still good on YouTube and everywhere else, but it's like, man, I really don't know what the future holds. Like, you know, there's certain content that, man, I think about 3 times before I put it on YouTube, even Twitch.
Yeah, I hate it because it's like, bro, whether you agree or disagree, like, shouldn't it still be a conversation? That's my biggest thing is like, I get there's some things that are just like, yo, that's really crossing the line. Like, no one's trying to hear that shit. But you know, when does it get to the point where things that should just be spoken about are just completely like, nah, we're not trying to hear this shit because we believe this so heavily?
What I believe now is that YouTube, more than ever, is being used on some like propaganda stuff. Like people have these messages being sent. Like, for example, it's not just content. Like, they don't care if you, I don't think they care if you make like an obscene joke that's just kind of like aha, like stupid joke. But like, you know, let's think about the people, or let's think of like even say, you know, Crowder, he got demonetized. Like, let's think about Fresh and Fit. They're now realizing like, yo, you guys are creating a whole group of people that are thinking this way. And you're not using this platform to only disseminate content that's entertaining. You're disseminating ideas that could ultimately mold and shape how people in civilization move.
Bro, the whole world.
And that's I've always said that the greatest form of power is influence. You know what I mean? If you could influence how someone think, or how you could influence them even starting a thought, right? Based on how you kind of indoctrinate them to feel about certain things.
Yeah.
That's super powerful. And I think they're realizing that now, that there's this huge subsection of the audience that, some of them are just red pills. Some of them, you know, they're down this kind of like anti-government, blah, blah, not trusting, whatever. And it's at the point, obviously January 6th was some shit that they were like, whoa, what the that now they're fearful of. So they're like, yo, let's get these motherfuckers out of here. And, you know.
But so that's what's weird though. My point is like, whether you believe this or that, left or right, I don't care, right? Yeah. I hate all of it. But it's like, so we're just not supposed to have like a sort of discourse about anything. It's just like, it's either this or it's nothing. And that's scary. Because like in reality, it's like, let's say 100 years from now, it's the opposite, right? Let's say it's all like right, it's instead of left, right? And it's like, well, then what then? Like, what about those voices just don't matter? Like none of that, because it's just what we want, how we want it. Is it just coming down to this one? This is how it has to be. And if you're not falling in line, you're not with us. Like you're just gone. That's scary, because that thought is the reason why it's scary, is because whether it's that way or this way, it's a problem. That's a problem.
They're sending a clear message, like basically, hey, entertain, but don't try to change people's minds. Like,
well, I'm not even trying to change no one's mind. I just want to have a conversation.
Well,
you think conversations change your minds?
Well, sometimes those conversations could become big enough where there's an ideology behind those conversations. Like if we're having a religious discourse, right, and I have a particular ideology behind the discussion I'm having, and who knows, we're having these debates and people are now kind of siding with me. Now they're probably going to start thinking like me. And I think YouTube is like, yo, listen, first of all, the thing that makes them the most amount of money is these little kid videos. Hey, little toy, shark, whatever this bullshit is.
Stuff.
Right? Yeah, all that type of stuff. They're like, yo, we don't want you to, like, yeah, have like discourse, but like, don't try to have people, don't try to change no one's minds. Which, by the way, just kind of lets you know where the world is now, where it's like, and I forgot who said this most famously, is like, an idea is like the most dangerous thing. Like just even having that idea or just having something that people could believe in is just the most dangerous thing for like a governing body. You know what I mean? Because
Bro, but
that's how in many countries, like, if not regulated, if their media wasn't regulated, that's how coups start, right? Like, you know what I mean? That's why in many other countries it's repressive in terms of like what you could disseminate via their media, right? They outlaw certain type of thinking that goes against the grain, because if information is spread freely, you're always going to get those little subsections of society which whoever who governs all this, they don't like, because it breeds for a while and festers, and then for them, at least in the US, the actual embodiment of that is January 6th. You know what I mean?
yeah, I get it. But that's a scary thought, because if you flip it completely, then it's like I said, at one point it was like, are we just saying like individuality and like your own thoughts just don't matter? Because like take that to the thousandth level, like the 100th degree, the millionth degree, and you take it 100%. That's just like, what do you want people to just be robots and just do exactly what you think and believe, and that's it? That's the problem, right?
True.
Because if you took that the farthest you could take it, which is saying that like, yo, we believe this, and you know, there's some people who believe that, and we want to quell that, whatever you want to say. Like, let's say you quell to the point of all the way gone, and there's only this. So you only want people to think, believe, feel, and agree with this one narrative. That's not human, dude. That's robotic. That's the problem.
Well, they also ran into the problem with, like, you know, everything. It's like, yo, wait, we want the population to do A, and then they're now receiving alternative information that's making them reconsider doing A and thinking about doing B. And they're like, how do we combat that? It was like, well, we run these, or we run the outlets that they're getting the information about B. Let's handle it. It's just a scary time we're getting into.
I know, man.
You know, it's a very scary time with how information is going to be disseminated.
I mean, bro, I kept my gym open that whole time. And I was getting
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I talked about this a few times on pause, but I was getting destroyed. There were like letter after letter, health department,
Really?
bro.
Fines?
Fines. Went to court like 9 times. Then nothing happened.
Wait, so the cops didn't like show up and like, yo, this shut down?
Every time. And I was like, I'm not shutting it down. Sorry.
Can't they
Here's a
force
fine.
you to?
Here's a fine. No.
Really?
What are they gonna do? The cops, this is the crazy part. The cops are like, we don't even want to be here. We're here because that health department guy called us and said we got to come with him. We don't agree with this. That's what the cops were telling me in person. But we have to do this because we got to make sure he's safe.
Yeah.
Period. And so I'm dealing with this, and like I just kept getting to the same point where I'm like talking to the health department guy. You know, he's a city local official or whatever, and I'm like, this is towards the beginning, 2 months in. I'm like, well, can you explain to me, if you can give me a really good reason why this is more detrimental to public than airports being open right now? I'll shut my gym down.
Wasn't
You know what?
your
Hold
gym
on, but you know what he
considered
said?
Essential?
No, bro. Really? No. Gyms were not considered essential. You know what was considered essential in the same exact local district area? Fee sets. So,
What was that?
meaning like we could have a bunch of people here in a room,
Yeah.
in this room,
Yeah.
and we could perform and film. This is in the San Fernando Valley, and this is considered essential because it's an entertainment venue, something like that.
Really?
In the same place where said the gym wasn't. In the same place, like Costco down the street with thousands of people is okay. And I'm telling these health department people this, and they're just like, oh, I have to talk to my supervisor. And I say, well, okay, supervisor comes one day, and I ask him the same question. There's no answer. And I say, tell me why airports are wide open. And that's like the biggest transfer of people all across the country. And he goes, well, that's not my jurisdiction. So I'm like, so are you telling me that it doesn't spread because it's not your jurisdiction there? Oh, I don't have an answer for that. So I kept talking to these people, and there was no logical explanation other than we just don't want the shit open.
Yeah, that was definitely a time that the government tried their hand at it. I mean, shit.
And it was unfortunate too, though, man. I want to say one more thing, because then all the studies and everything's like, yo, the gym was actually really important. Vitamin D is actually really important. Like being healthy is actually really important because this thing mainly affects your cardiovascular system and like the inflammation of it. And all these other things are actually like making it better. And now we're realizing how important it would have been for so many people to like have gone towards that stuff instead of, you know, alcohol stores is open. Obviously, there's a whole argument for that because there's, you know, alcoholics who are dependent on alcohol, they need alcohol. But it's like,
Okay, and then I was thinking about that. I was like, okay, if that's true, because I'd be like, well, why are alcohol stores open? And I tell them, oh, well, alcoholics, just dependents, they'll die if they don't drink alcohol. That's true. Okay, fine. Then why don't we just, like, if we're being so serious, because it's so serious, and I would ask the health department people this, I would say, then why don't we just have, if you're an alcoholic and you could, like, you're an alcoholic, then you can get it. But, like, how many people are an alcoholic going to the alcohol store? Probably a lot, but there's probably, like,
Probably way more that's not.
way more that's not. And so we're just saying fuck it. And like, but that's good to be open. That's okay. Like we can get those things that literally alcohol and tobacco make our cardiovascular system worse. While we're talking about we're trying to protect people. But the thing that makes them better, we're saying, no, we're drawing a line there. And there was no like, it just didn't make sense.
They definitely picked and choose. And I think it was just such a political play of what could be open, but it was all to the detriment of a small business owner, right?
And it all comes back to what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's just like, bro, like where the fuck are we going? And just, I don't want to get too much in the mud about it because it is what it is, but like the scary part for me is like, where does this head? Like, are we just going further and further down this road of like, yo, it's this way or there's no way?
It's funny how I think a lot of people have realized as we came out of it, they're like, yo, I can't believe we stood for that. Yo, this could never happen again. I think exactly this could happen again. I think this is just to prove, hey, listen, if you scare enough motherfuckers, they will lay down and whatever they believe is either their constitutional rights or their civil liberties, they'll be like, yo, fuck this shit, protect us because we are sheep. And I think every so often the government has to remind the people that they know what's best for them and also have to test and stunt the liberties of those people to make sure they know that, hey, listen, you're really not in control of. So I think it'll happen again. Maybe I don't know if in our lifetimes, but I think it's always gonna happen. And every time, like I hear so many people having the comments like, yo, how do we let that happen? It's like, what you mean? How'd you let it happen? They told you to stay inside. You stayed inside. You know what I mean? I stayed inside. You know what I mean? Well, I know you didn't.
I didn't.
Oh, yo, you interviewed Tate. I loved when you interviewed Tate.
Yeah.
You guys went to Romania and did it, right?
Yeah.
How was that?
Bro, it was great. It was incredible. I mean, it was a little tough. Steiny was like trying to compete with questions. I was like, bro, just let me.
Yeah,
because at one point I remember I was asking questions. And I think he must have asked Tate some question, and Tate was like, "What the fuck? Why are you asking me this?" Like in the middle of the conversation.
Yo, are you
like,
cool with Steiny though?
Yes, bro. I love Steiny.
Like, there's an annoyance there. At times.
Okay, I'll tell you. Steiny's interesting because he's trying to. He's looking out. Like, everyone's like looking out for themselves, you know, because like it's like everyone's trying to like get the most for themselves and make a name for themselves and figure out their stuff. So like I understand that dynamic really differently because I was there because it stemmed from Steve and me basically, right?
Yeah.
And then he got the opportunity to do the podcast stuff for Nelk and Full Send, and I think he was telling him like, "Yo, I want to go do this stuff." I know they were asking him to like come do it. And I think, from what I understand, is that Steiny was trying to get some sort of contract deal with Steve, and then it never happened for him to work more closely with Steve. And then he just kind of started he was going to try to go in between and do some stuff for Steve and then do some stuff and do the podcast. And he just kind of went all the way that way.
Every time I've seen you on the pod, are you like an official member of Full Send pod?
No. I've actually
I like
never.
you when you're on there, man.
I loved it.
I love it when Kyle's my boy, man. Kyle's just amazing to me. You and Kyle, you have a good dynamic. I think when Steiny's in the mix, you and him always step on each other's toes. It's kind of interesting. And I thought it was an act a little bit at first because y'all had a few little like one of those like boys episodes, and I was like, I can't tell if this is just great content or like they were really hashing it out right now.
I mean, we've known each other for a long time, so it's a little bit of both, you know? I wouldn't say it's an act. It's just like, we kind of just let it go.
From a viewer looking at it, I don't know if anyone else looks at it like this, but like, but somebody called him out on it where like, they're like, yo, maybe he's trying to play victim a little bit. Like, I'll be feeling bad for my boy Stein. I'd be like, man, yo, I feel like he's trying so hard. Like, he's trying hard, and sometimes he doesn't get the not necessarily the respect, but like he's getting the short end of the stick in terms of not getting respect, I guess.
Here's the thing, and I could speak to that directly, okay? Within that ecosystem of content, would you say it's comedy-based?
Mostly.
Okay. And in comedy, there's a classic type of comedy there's like the crazy guy, and then there's the straight guy.
Yeah.
And the straight guy is normally the what? The butt of the joke.
Yeah.
I was there for years. And what was I? I was the butt of the joke.
Yeah.
So that transitioned to Steiny. Like I meet with Steve, oh, Brad's this, Brad's that, Brad's this. You know, I was that guy that was like, yo, this is the butt end of the joke. All these things true? Fuck no. But like I play into it because I get comedy. I understand, like I'm not a comedian, I'm not Tom Segura over here, you know what I'm saying? Like, but I understand comedy. And I knew that like there's an important part. Like if everyone was Steiny, that shit would suck. If everyone was Kyle, that shit would suck. Meaning like you need dynamics.
No, absolutely.
You know? So Kyle is more is not the straight guy. Kyle's more the guy who's gonna like throw the jabs or throw the hits, and Steiny's got to kind of take the shit.
Yeah.
And so when I was a part of it, like
wait, why aren't you a part of it anymore?
they just stopped having me on. I talked to Adam 22 about this. They just stopped having me on. Sure, I mean, maybe because I have my own shit focused on that. Like there's no like bad blood. It's not a problem. It's just like
I feel like you're like cast, bro. Like I feel like you're part of the cast. Because I remember the whole Bob Menery thing, which by the way I was like, I love the business side of like all of this. And I remember like he kind of came out and explained the deal, and I was like, "Yo, Bob, your deal sounded like it was kind of your favor, my brother. What's going on?" But anyway, all right, he kind of falls out of the fold, and then you come on, and as I said, like you were batting like 1,000 on some of those episodes, like
yeah.
You know what? Because maybe it's because you're older, you just have a different perspective. Like even me and you talking now, like we're gonna get into some of the minutiae of just like deeper conversation than just this is what some people do a pod and it's like current event based. It's like so what happened here? Oh, what happened here? But anytime with you, it's always like even with the Tate thing was a great example.
Yeah.
About getting into the psyche of somebody who people are super interested in, rather than just kind of get clickbaity. Like and I thought that was great. So I thought you were gonna stay.
Well, I thought it was a perfect combination because it was kind of like that. Kyle, from my perspective, and again, this is all stuff that we've never actually talked about explicitly. It's just kind of how the vibe went.
Don't tell me they George Janko's you, bro.
I don't think they George Janko me like they weren't talking about my religion and shit. Nah, bro. No. It's like it's crazy because when I look back at it, I see the perspective. Like Kyle was kind of the guy he would like throw up fucking like jokes towards like Steiny or me, and like me in relationship to Steiny, and then it would create like some sort of rift or issue. And I think it worked really well because like Steiny would also be really good at asking like viral questions.
Yeah.
And then I was asking like
100%.
Yeah, exactly. Like you talk about like like right now we talked about the Sneeko shit. Sneeko do it, whatever, right? Because that's current.
Yeah.
Current stuff, viral stuff. He was really good at hitting those topics. Kyle was really good at like just kind of like batting shit up and seeing what landed and how like he would create like little tiffs between me and Steiny. I thought it was a really dope dynamic. And then, they probably just like, we can just do this together. I don't know.
Was it business wise?
Bro, I mean, it's not up to me. Like to be very transparent, I was never like an official member of any of it. I don't own any of that. I'm not a part of it that way. I was just kind of like a part of the content for a long time. And I think a lot of people identified me as like a part of it. So maybe like your perspective of it too is a little bit like that. Cause I filmed so many videos with Steve, so many videos with Nell, so many podcasts. I love the guys. I have nothing bad to say. It's just like, they just how they decide what they decide. Like I'm not involved in their meetings. Like I'm not involved in their shit, And I just kind of like, I was getting invited and then they're like, they just essentially stopped inviting me.
That's kind of dope how at least you're reflecting on it because I do know, and I know a lot of situations with like podcasts with multiple people then become entitled to be like, hey, listen, I help. Like, maybe you wouldn't say I helped build this, but it's like, I've helped push the envelope further and push the ball towards the goal a little bit that if you just don't invite me, like I feel away. You know what I mean? You can't just like sub me out after I've just like made some sacrifices.
Yeah, I mean, it sucks,
you know what I mean?
but like at the end of the day, like what am I gonna do? Be like, I'm so mad I'm not doing this still. Like what do I get from that?
Yeah, true.
You only kind of like create more issue that's like not necessary. It's just not necessary.
And obviously like you're dumb cool with Steve. And
yeah, that's
like,
my brother, man.
So it's kind of like the same thing.
Yeah, I don't have this thing is like it's not an issue. It's like it's not my business to decide what happens or doesn't happen.
I think you have an amazing ability for podcasts, and I think that's why conversations you excel at. That's the only reason I asked that question, because the times you were there, usually throughout, like, it's always comedic, right? It's funny as hell. Like, there's always a dynamic that's like, I think Kyle does a really good job of making it like it's gonna be a Nelk dynamic to it. Like if you understand what that is, for the people watching, but then you would always make the conversations deeper.
Yeah.
And it's always like, okay, all right, cool. Like, that kind of makes sense a little bit. So,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, bro, I mean, listen, they want to have me back on, I'll come back on. I'd do it.
Your pod's like probably blowing the fuck up because of you being there. Because they have a huge fucking platform. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like the crossover effect from you being on there to like you doing your own shit now is probably like you probably just seen it kind of go up.
Yeah. I mean, it's no matter what, it's still content and grinding. Like, of course, though. Like, that's why, originally I was doing so much content. Like, I understood, like, for example, I've joked about this before in the past, but like, I remember they were doing like millions. Like, I've joked with Steve about this. He sold, I don't know, like $2 million, $3 million worth of like Bradley Martyn sold me drugs t-shirts. I didn't get a single dollar.
Sold $3 million worth of
$3 million worth of t-shirts. With
What?
one t-shirt with my name on it. $0. And like, I would joke about it, like, because I'd understand it, like, I was a part of the content.
Yeah.
So you're a part of the mix. People are getting to know you. And I knew, Steve's calling me. And I knew that like, I'm a part of a newer community that I wasn't a part of prior. So I was like, okay, like I understand the value there. So, I made jokes about like not getting paid and shit. At the end of the day, like I know what it is. Like I understand social media. I've done it for so long. So I know that there's some, and it's not to say that I didn't come in and add value because like the jokes wouldn't be there selling $2 million in a t-shirt if I wasn't there. Like there's no jokes to hit. There's no Bradley Martyn sold me drugs and no $2-3 million worth of t-shirt sales if I wasn't there.
Yo, it's crazy how big their brand. I remember, I think they were having a episode with Jesse. I think he was like, yo, they did a merch drop and did like $1 million an hour. Like that sounds ridiculous. Like,
well, when we were filming together back then, there was like, I think the peak was like a $12-15 million day.
what?
Yeah, it was like a crazy number.
Like people buying merch?
Yes, yeah. Like when me, Steve, and Jesse was still there, I believe. He wasn't around as much. He was kind of still there, but it was like me, Steve, Kyle. Was it Jay? I don't know if Jay was really in it like that. I think Celine probably had just started. But this was like, when they still lived in LA, at the house in LA. They were doing crazy numbers.
Jesus Christ.
I don't know what it is now. I'm not,
I'm pretty sure they're still killing. I mean, Happy
Happy Dad,
Dad
I
is
know.
probably just the wave.
Yeah.
Yeah, I go to my refrigerator upstairs and it's like a fucking Happy Dad just kicking it there.
Yeah,
Happy Dad's everywhere.
They're crushing that. There's no doubt about that. And again, dude, I just want to make it clear, like, I have no bad blood. If they want to have me back on, I'll come back on. But I knew, because I'm telling you guys, like, I knew that it wasn't like, yo, this is your, it wasn't like, yo, you own this shit. Because like his whole thing with Bob was different. Like it was inception from the very beginning, like, yo, you're gonna have this or have that or whatever it was.
None of that happened with you where you're like, yo.
Nah, it was like, yo, here's how much money we're gonna pay you to show up.
Okay.
And then here's how much money we're gonna pay you to show up after this many episodes. That was it. So like, I can't be like, yo, bro, you told me I'm gonna own this and own that. Like, nah, man. Like, hey, there's none of that. That's it's for me, it's like, one would be like, yo, I'm mad you didn't give me more. Like, yeah, that's lame.
I agree with you.
Yeah,
I agree with you.
Have you had any like anything in this? Well, you're so solo.
Yeah, I'm so solo with it. Like, yo, I did a podcast with Spotify, and at first we were gonna pitch a podcast. It's gonna be me and 6ix9ine, and I think all the companies kind of realized what the fuck that Steve was gonna go. They were like, yo, we'll give you a podcast deal. If you want to bring him on, that's on you. You get me? They're like, hey, listen, we don't think a rapper is gonna be able to do a podcast because they wanted multiple times a week. Right? Every week.
Yeah.
They're like, a fucking rapper won't even show up to a show multiple times a week. You know what I mean? So it's like, he's definitely not gonna be doing this. Anyway, I did a podcast which was just me, which, ultimately, like, sometimes I look at the great dynamics and I kind of wish, it's like a tough thing being so solo though. I'm gonna tell you why. Because I love having conversations with people who are great at conversations. Like, I could tell me and you could have conversations for days about anything. Even things that I might not be that well-versed in, or neither you, right? But because I haven't surrounded myself with, like, great, I try to, like, make some of, like, my regular friends at times, like sometimes, like, guests, sometimes you try to kick it with your homies.
Yeah.
But they're not broadcasters. Like, I listen back to it, it's trash. You know what I mean? Or I have to, like, lead the conversation so much because they don't do this. And people might sit home and be like, this might not be a skill to them, But having these conversations
Yeah.
and the art of broadcasting, right, is a skill. Because I try to just grab like two of my friends or like I'll grab any random person and the conversation is just terrible.
Flat, yeah.
Yeah. So, and then I realized I was like, I don't know it. I'm not cool enough with having, I don't have the luxury of having mad influencers around me that are really good at doing the same thing that I could like, hey, I have a Bradley Martyn that I'm like, yo, come do a couple episodes with me.
Yeah.
And I think that's the part that sucks with flying solo a lot.
Yeah.
You know what I
For
mean?
sure. And then it's also like, for example, this space, like right now, podcasting, it's scheduling. If I'm guest, it's just a guest dependent as well.
Yeah,
you know,
we ran into that issue where, you know, I used to do like these solo episodes, like because like I love Monday morning. What's Bill Burr's podcast? He does it solo. I don't know if you ever heard.
Yeah, I know who Bill Burr is. I don't know his podcast though.
He
There's a lot of comedians though who do
like
solo.
Monday morning podcasts.
But
Something like that.
comedians are built different for podcasts. Like,
Yeah, Theo is killing it.
Yeah, Theo, but like even Chris D'Elia, like this, they do solo like it's crazy. Solo pod's crazy.
Yeah, so I did those, but then because I had to do it multiple times, if it was once a week, it would be easy to do. But when you have to like literally multiple times a week do these solo pods, so essentially we started like, all right, we're gonna get a guest and maybe do like one solo pod a week, and then schedules just start f***ing everything up because, you know, I don't even know how you do it because you have other businesses as well, right?
Yeah.
Like for example,
I missed last week. Fucked up.
see, I have to.
So that was the first time in how long, Jacob? First time I missed a podcast. Like almost 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
And like, for example, I have to stream like 16, 17 hours a week, right? I have to do that. Still doing a lot of stuff like a media company. We work with all these record labels. I got to be on all these. So it's like sometimes you get to find out that like because you can't clone yourself, and also, you know, I've hired assistants and other people try to help out, but it's like only so much you could do. And then scheduling, like with guests, you are like beholden to like, for example, you know how many times motherfuckers cancel, man? It's like,
oh my God,
really, you
bro.
can't even be mad because sometimes everyone's trying to do what's good for them.
Yes.
Right? And they're like, hey, I was coming to New York, but now I'm not coming to New York. I'm coming to New York like next month. Hey, my album was about to come out, but now I'm pushing it back. Could we do it later? You're like, motherfucker, I needed you for the episode this week.
Yeah.
You get what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's one of the reasons why, like, you know, I've thought about and wanted like kind of like a core group that we could just shoot the shit, man.
Yeah, and that's why I started my second podcast with Sarah, the mommy daddy talk. I have that pod because I told her, I said, listen, because I do the guest thing.
Yeah.
I'd love to have guests on our podcast, me and her. We've had Sneeko on.
Yeah.
And we do plan to have more guests. But I told her from the beginning, I said, this has to be just you and I talking about current topics, talking about things. We'll have like segments and stuff. We're still kind of developing exactly what we want it to be. But like, if we can't sustain it, trust me, it's going to be a headache because I know I've done it. Like I've been in the space where like scheduling is the worst thing, man. So if you could have someone that you could have that flow or that dynamic with, like we could sit here and talk about probably any topic, music or not music, and have a good conversation to try to like understand, to figure out, so the audience is like, oh, that's just dope to me. I get it, or I want to know more.
Joe Budden podcast does that really well in the hip hop space. Also, I love Flagrant too. But like,
Flagrant's a good setup.
Flagrant's move. They've started to do more guests though, and I think the guests for them just hit those numbers. Like they do a lot of like UFC fighters and stuff like that. But even without a guest, they're usually like pretty good.
Yeah, Andrew's fucking. I love that guy, man.
Andrew to me is one of the guys who was probably, because you know he came in doing a podcast with Charlamagne the God Brilliant Idiots, and he was just so shrewd and smart to realize that, hey, listen, his only way to win was to like take advantage of this internet culture, and he's a smart motherfucker, man.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like he made all those moves, like start uploading like his crowd work on like YouTube and like really taking advantage of this. That motherfucker sold out the Scotiabank Arena in Toronto twice.
Yeah,
I went to Radio City Music Hall and watched that motherfucker perform, and I'm like, damn, like it was the embodiment of watching someone like, you know, kind of translating the audience. Like I did my first live show this year. You know what I mean? I'm at the point where I'm now trying to translate the audience after 10 years of.
That's what I want to start getting into. We were talking about the live stream thing earlier. I want to start getting to like trying to do like live, like even live stream like a live show.
But your audience is kind of already translating though, because I mean, your gym, you've probably seen a lot of people that are just coming from, yo, I fuck with you on the pod, like shit. I'm just fuck with you cultures because
bro. It's been like that for. Bro, I've had a gym for 8 years now.
Damn.
Like legit, almost either like 7.5, almost 8 years. I opened my gym 8 years ago.
Jeez.
It's fucking insane. I opened my.
As you've gotten popular, like more with like podcasts and stuff, have you seen like increase in?
Yeah, it's just more. Like that's the thing. Like, you know, when I think we were talking earlier about like sustaining and like been in the game for so long, it's like you just keep touching. And that sounds super weird, but touching a new audience. Like you keep reaching a new audience.
Yeah,
you know, like you reach them from like a different, you know, like doing this stuff with Nelk, doing the podcast, like you reached, and even the podcast, it's like, you know, you reach much older men as well. Like, because I don't really have female in my audience at all. It's like 99% men on all platforms.
Yeah, me too. You know, I like hanging around, like even, I remember we were at, was it the New Year's Eve party or some shit? Yo, in the hip hop world, I walk into a room and everyone's like, oh, that's Act. Like people know me, right? Like if you're in the hip hop, you know me. I'm at like, it's like one of their events, and it's like I'm kind of like relatively unknown, and I like it because it's like this is a true sign that this is a new audience that you've not penetrated yet.
Yeah.
And pause on the penetration.
Yeah, it's so funny.
but seriously, like, but that gets me excited because a lot of times when I do like music content, and I don't know if you've ever gotten to hear it, where I feel like I was hitting my head on the ceiling. I'm like, damn, if I conquered or like, I feel like everyone in hip hop knows my name. It's either they like me or they don't, right? Or they might be indifferent. But there's not much more of an audience that could grow there. So now I'm like, if I want to grow, I have to either collaborate or do things that is kind of outside the scope of hip hop, because no matter how popular these artists are, everybody listens to music, but the hip hop media or hip hop talk space is probably 1/50th the size of like just general comedy where you would catch a Full Send podcast at, or an Impulse, or whatever the case. So it's like I feel like I've bumped my head a bunch of times and hit the ceiling, and I'm like, damn, how the fuck do you? Because as a creator, there's nothing more like depressing than you're like, yo, I'm just not growing no more. Like it's over.
Yeah.
Like I'm just stagnant. I'm running in place. I'm on a treadmill. This shit's going crazy.
Yeah. Fucking hamster wheel, bro.
Yeah.
So what? I'm curious. Like, what does your actual team look like? Because you have so many like pages.
Yeah.
Do you have like a bunch of like cutters, editors, or is it like?
So the interesting part about it is that like
it's definitely not just you.
Well, it was for a long time, and what I realized, I had a lot of fan pages. Like there's a lot of pages that kind of popped off in that meme culture that was just kind of like, I guess I was like the butt of the joke a lot. They were like, yo, they were just something demics. And it was like, everyone thought it was just like my team.
Yeah, what's with the McDonald's comments?
Man, I don't know. Like, honestly, like I used to like kind of like resent it until like, I used to hate when my audience, the first time they used to clown me was on YouTube. Every, like, it'd be 1,000, 2,000 comments. They're like, yo, Akademiks the type of dude that does whatever. Like, yo, he's the type of dude that closes the fridge with his hips type shit. Hilarious.
Why she
shit.
laugh? Why she laugh? No, you close the door? You close the door with your hips?
I don't.
What the
fuck? No, but it's funny as fuck. Yo, let me say this. Learning how to understand, self-deprecating humor and also learning how to laugh at yourself. Like, I used to get upset.
Yeah,
I used to read comments. And for any new creator, like you're gonna get upset because they're gonna always figure out what you either are insecure about or whatever, and you're gonna have to get to the point of realizing that is a sign of your success.
Yeah. Right.
Like your audience feels like they're your family, and just like how y'all. So again, nowadays I don't really mind it. You know what I mean? Even though I don't even eat McDonald's, bro.
Wow.
If it was like Wendy's, probably. Like, I do eat Wendy's. That's a fact.
Wendy's is good, man.
I fuck with Wendy's. Do you eat fast food?
Every once in a
while.
while.
Mad healthy, bro.
Yeah, no, yeah. But like every once in a while I eat it. Probably more than I should, to be honest.
We gotta get you the same testing that Logan Paul took, man.
Which one? Zada? What did he say?
Bro, he said he got
he just got a little piss test. He didn't take a blood test.
Yo, Dylan Dennis said like that was cap. Do you think Logan Paul's on some?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Why did they not do that prior? Why didn't they get a blood test?
Wait, how long does that shit last in your system?
No, well, all the are different. Testosterone, like there's a half-life to them and eventually it's gone. But the real question is why not do it on the way up? And also like why just a urine test? Why not a blood test?
Oh,
Because a urine test is like, you know,
really?
yeah, a little blood test to get you right.
Wait,
And there's certain things to test for to really identify if it is or if it isn't.
When he does the WWE stuff, does these things like fuck with like your balls? I hear it shrinks it up, bro.
I mean, testosterone, because it's exogenous, right, outside, like
Yeah.
you're giving it to yourself. Like normally where you produce it is in your testicles. So when you don't need it, your body like kind of shut down those like organs and they'll shrink up because they're not active. So the exogenous testosterone will shut down your natural production of testosterone. Therefore, like your balls are kind of like, we don't need these, but it's like we already got that coming in. See what I'm saying?
Oh,
So it'll make them a little smaller. It's not like they just disappear. It will make them smaller though.
how
But
much?
it doesn't with your. If anything, it'll make your like work better because of blood flow and all that kind of.
How much is like how quick? Like, what's the difference if like I don't know? I see you're working out same pace, but you're on something and you're not on something.
So that's there's no way to answer that because everyone is so different. That's like saying, how fast could I get this, right? I don't know. You don't even know because you haven't tried yet. You know what I'm saying? Like everyone genetically, everyone is so uniquely different to how they respond to training stimulus and what kind of training stimulus works better. Or like that's a whole journey someone's got to take in and of itself. Like on top of, are they drinking enough water, eating enough food, getting enough sleep? Are they doing all these other things?
I drink alcohol. I don't think none of these things. Like, even if I try, like, I think the amount of alcohol I drink just reverses it. Like, yo,
Yeah, I mean, it's terrible.
You drink?
Every once in a while, yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's if I drank as often as like people would like me to drink, it'd be terrible.
Really?
So I gotta say no a lot. But like alcohol, is not gonna help you build muscle for sure. In fact, it's the opposite. But like you just gotta understand, like the answer to that question is just like everyone is so uniquely different that you can't say this or that. And like you could take and like see a crazy effect. Like I'll give you one example. There was a guy who was actually a physique Olympia
Steroids
guy.
legal?
It is legal. Like you can buy it from like a clinic or something like that. It is
Real?
legal. Yeah.
Like over the counter?
Yeah, from like a TRT clinic. Not over. You can't just go to like a pharmacy and be like, give me. You can get testosterone prescribed at a certain amount from a clinic.
Really?
You know, the problem is like what people they think of is like people taking a ton of shit. It's like some shit that, they buy some shit from Mexico and they take this and that and that. And it's
Some
like
Barry Bonds.
yeah, some shit that it's just like the fuck are you doing, right? But I'll give you an example. Right, there's a guy who's actually a classic physique Olympia winner that I knew years ago. He was a winner like the last. I don't know how many years ago. I don't want to say because I'm not really trying to give his information out like that, but someone could probably figure it out. But more of the story is like
You're not talking about that cyclist nigga, right? That dude that was in France.
No. There's a lot of people who do like all these people in that space take testosterone. They take all versions of it. There's like all kinds of shit, right? I'm not trying to give like a course on it, but there's a bunch of different. There's orals. There's like injectable shit. There's all kinds of shit, right?
Is there anything I could take to make me a little taller? I always want to be
No,
6'4".
man, you're fucked. Sorry.
What?
Yeah. You could probably break the knees and then do the whole surgery.
Nah, that shit's weird.
Yeah.
You know another reason I probably wouldn't do it? There's mad things in life I wouldn't do. I'm so pussy. I'm scared of death, man. Like,
You're scared of death?
yeah, of course.
Yeah, me too.
Well,
really fucking afraid of death.
but I heard that, like, if you, like, do these things or like I know this guy who was 6ix9ine security, like his main security guy, when he was, like, being hunted and everyone was trying to kill him, like his main security guy like had a heart attack in the gym, and people they suspect, like, I mean, dude looked huge, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They suspect he was on some stuff, and they thought that it might have contributed to maybe some heart condition. I'm like, damn, yo, I feel like I'd be the one unlucky motherfucker to be like, yo, yeah, that's the 0.001%, but that 0.001% is Zach.
There's a lot of things where like there's certain like genetic conditions that people might have. Like it would make sense for someone to make sure that they don't have like things that would be complications in regards to that as well. And at the same time, beyond that, not just that, just abusing it. What tends to happen is like people, they get an effect from it and they think more is going to give me more of the effect that I got, right? So I'll go back to my story I was trying to tell you. There was a guy, classic physique Olympia guy, like highest level in the sport, one of the sports, right? One of the categories in the sport. Incredible condition. This guy, I remember years ago, he comes up to me. He's like, yo, I'm thinking about starting. I'm like, oh, shit, really? This guy just looked like a football player, like shorter dude, just pretty stacked, like looked pretty good. I swear to God, man, he told me he started. 2 weeks go by, he looks like a professional bodybuilder. So when you talk about like how fast it happens, genetically, this guy was so adept, was so like built for that. 2-3 weeks go by, he looked like a different human being. I was like, holy, you have some of the best genetics I've ever seen. And then years later went on to be fucking classic physique Olympia.
Wow.
Like, so, but that's not like, this is the thing that's really important. That's not everyone, dude. Some people take it and get from it. They don't get nothing from it. Like they look like just 5% better.
The Rock said he was clean. Like,
That's bull.
for real?
Bro, what? Clean?
Doing them little, you know.
Come on, bro. He's like, how old is he?
I don't know.
He's like 60, like The Rock clean, bro.
All right, quick and rich for the podcast. Check this out, hostage tape. You guys, if you guys do not know about this, if you have not known about this, I realized this when I was having like really bad sinus problems. I was getting like the worst sleep of my life, okay? Like I'm waking up groggy, feeling like shit. And I realized, I was like, man, I'm sleeping with my mouth open because like my nose is stuffy. So hostage tape in this situation, not the best idea. You want your nose to be clear. But check this out. Nose breathing versus mouth breathing, as far as like recovery, as far as like actual rest, is actually, there's a massive difference there, right? So if you guys have a hard time sleeping with your mouth closed, hostage tape basically just put it on top. It helps you keep it closed, breathe through your nose, more efficient, better sleep, better recovery, better everything. Give them a shot. Go to hostagetape.com/RawTalk right now. Buy 2, get 1 free. I'm telling you guys, improving your sleep is gonna improve the rest of your life. Give it a shot. Let's get back into this podcast.
What? You really believe that?
I mean,
that's crazy.
I don't know what's possible of the human body if you work out every day 5 times a day, if that's even possible.
I mean, you get to a point with age where it's like, it would be hard. I'm not saying it can't happen. It would be incredibly hard to hold sort of muscle mass in relationship to body fat, like how much muscle mass, how full you look, in relationship to how much like body fat you have on top of the skin. You know what I'm saying? And in between the organs, right? So it's just like as you age, you get to a certain point where like it's just not happening the way it was when you were younger. Like maybe in your 20s and 30s, 40s, you can still kind of do it. But there is a
Rock is in his 50s, isn't it?
I think so, or close to 60 or something. There's a point where it's like it's actually beneficial for you.
Why then?
I don't know, Disney.
Is it because like
still have it's so taboo still.
he probably sells like supplements and shit like that, right?
Well, no, I don't know. I think he has the energy, but I don't even know. It's just like it's still taboo to, like we talked earlier about being brand friendly and recognizable. And like, I mean, bro, he does Disney movies. So it's like there's still a stigma on it's bad. You know, Barry Bonds, all this is bad. It's bad in sports. It's bad here. It's bad everywhere.
LeBron James.
Bro, I listen.
You think Bron's on the juice?
I think.
Stop it.
Bro, if it's not the juice, like it's something that is a quote unquote illegal substance to make them more efficient, to make them recover faster, whether it's like a growth hormone or something like that, because you get the same effects. Like,
why would you think LeBron? Like,
longevity, bro. Who else do you know? I mean,
no injuries, pretty much,
bro. Yeah. He spends what? And this is $2 million a year.
Yeah, on his body,
just recovery. I mean, bro, this is no shade to any of these people, not to The Rock, not to LeBron, not to any of these people. Because the reality is, like, imagine to perform at the highest level, like for The Rock to be like what everyone envisions him as The Rock, that's his highest level of performance, right? Like if he couldn't maintain that and just started getting skinnier and smaller and people are like, oh, what's this? But if he can maintain that healthy under doctor's approval, like I'm not saying these guys are just taking random shit, like I'm a bodybuilder, like they're taking things with doctors, like this guy's overlooking it. They're making sure their blood levels are good. They're making sure everything is right. Like they're doing all the due diligence. And that's the thing, right? If we start talking about, you're going to have a bunch of kids who are like, oh, I'm going to take them with no sort of due diligence, no understanding, no knowing of size. Like I had a kid come up to me and was like, at my gym, he's like, yo, do you think I should take? And I was like, the fuck are you talking about? Like, why would you even say that to me? Like that's the fact that you don't even, you've never done it. I'm like, how long have you been working out for? 2 years. I'm like, bro, you don't even know what your body can do, period. We're just working hard. Like, do you drink enough water? Oh, I don't know. Like, how do you go from like, I'm going to not know how to do any of this to I'm going to take one of the hardest in this space because like I've heard this on the internet. So that's the thing, right? So I can understand why these people at this level, they're not talking about it candidly or openly because just like we talked earlier, you're on this public forum. You don't want to create like this narrative that all these kids are like, oh, he does it. It's okay for me. And then they go and fuck off the worst kind of way.
The reason why I thought that LeBron was maybe clean is that at 17, he had a body like a grown ass 30-year-old man. And like there's no way I'm thinking he's taking steroids in high school. So I'm like, maybe just genetically, he's just a fucking freak of nature.
So the LeBron thing is like, yeah, there's no denying he's like an absolute freak of nature. But like to perform at that level for this long, like it would make sense if like you spend $2 million a year on recovery. Like, are you never having that conversation with a doctor? Like, yo, what could I do that can give me the edge that I felt like maybe I had more of an edge when I was younger? Like, why would you not have that conversation? Like, what could, sort of peptides or whatever the it is, right? Like, what could I take to make myself better?
Yeah, I definitely think that something like that's happening. I mean, remember with Kobe, like he went to some doctors overseas that did some
Probably
plasma,
stem cell.
some stuff that made him recover like way quicker, like almost like 4 times faster than he should have from like an injury.
Yeah.
Which that's like, you know what I mean? I guess that would probably be like on the borderline. I think you're right. It's a taboo about or just like
Big
you know,
time. It's because it's I don't know. They just not want people to be better.
Is Joe Rogan on this stuff too?
Yo, he talks about it.
Oh, he is?
But remember, it's so just got to understand, it's not like when you think of steroids and when people think of steroids, they probably think of big bodybuilder on steroids, like a lot of steroids. This guy's killing himself type shit, right?
Yeah.
It's not that. Like, I'm not saying any of those guys are doing that. I'm saying these guys are literally going to doctors and getting hormone type therapy and maybe getting a little more and getting this peptide and getting this thing for recovery, for inflammation. So their body's more efficient at everything that it needs to be more efficient at to perform at a high level. Like, that's what they're doing. They're not going and buying fucking steroids from the fucking some bro at the gym and like shooting up, being like, you know, like pain and gain.
Yeah.
You know, that's not what it is. So it's really important when we talk about this kind of stuff that like people understand that like you shouldn't be thinking about this sort of shit unless you've thought about and also spent the time to understand what it does to the body, what it can do to you, the side effects. Like, are you doing all the other things you need to do to make sure you're healthy and safe? Are you getting it under doctor supervision or just like your bro from the gym? And that's the reality. Like, people don't go that mile because they just think, I just want it now. I don't care. Give me the pill, give me the thing, give me whatever it is. I want to look like that guy. Yeah. So the same thing we talked about earlier about the censorship in like the space is like, I could say that. You're still going to have a kid who's like, one ear out the other. I'm still want to do the thing because I think that guy does it. And let's say I take a little and I get a result, I'm going to take more because I want to be more like that guy. Yeah, when it's like, it doesn't work that way. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that's why, like, if we talk about why.
I see why it's regulated. It has to be super regulated and probably a little bit taboo.
Because people, exactly. Because people,
a lot of people
fuck themselves up. And it's crazy now because in this space, not this space with us, but in the social media space, in the fitness space, for me, dude, it's been so much more talked about and discussed about. I'm concerned. I think there's probably a whole like way, way more younger kids who are like, I need to do this to get what that guy has. Because there's so many more younger kids in the social space now, fitness space, that are like popping, getting followers, making money, blah, 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 all this stuff. And you got all these probably like 16, 17-year-old kids who are like, oh, I want to do that. I need to do this. And I know it's true because I literally told you, I'm at my gym and some kid comes up to me. He's like, should I take gin? And I'm like, why? Because some fucking people have talked about this on the internet. You think like that's the thing you have to do. When it's like, that's, again, if we were talking about, you don't need to be layman's for you to understand this. Imagine like testosterone is like a 1 on effectiveness, right? And like side effects and all that stuff, like a 10. Damn. So it's like, why would you go from 1 to 10 without knowing what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and they don't even think like that.
Is trend like?
It's just some. It's like some shit.
Well, don't you get more credit if people think you're natural?
Oh, for sure. That's a big thing. That's a really popular thing in the space to be like, I'm natural, and then everyone's like, oh my god, he's natural. I'll buy his shit.
Because as soon as I hear you're on some stuff, I'm like, oh, so you really ain't putting in work like that.
Okay, so that's another cool misconception, right? Like, cool. Like, that's what I told you. If you think that, again, a person will take this shit, be putting in all the work, and just genetically, they're just different. They're going to take it. They're going to be like, what the f? This isn't what I thought it was. You know how many people I've known who have taken shit, who've been like, yeah, this isn't it. This isn't what I thought it would be. Like, it's just, some people are just so much more genetically predisposed to have such crazy results in relationship to taking that than others. And it'll never change. But those same people, even natural, would have the same sort of like enhanced quicker results than the next guy who wouldn't. So like genetically, if you're predisposed to like have a result, then whether or not you ever do the stuff, you're gonna be more genetically predisposed to have that result just faster than the next guy if you never did anything. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's what it's. I'm just saying in this space it's fucked up because like there's so much talk about it now, and there's so many young kids in the space. I fear there's a lot of kids who are just kind of going too hard without any sort of supervision, and they're themselves up.
Do you think like Logan Paul hears you say like you think he's on the stuff and he's like, man, Bradley Martyn, man?
Probably. Whatever. He also said fuck because
really?
Well, no, he was on a podcast like some dumb shit about Like I was joking about getting his brother getting memed. Like I respect the fuck out of what these guys have done, and I told you that.
I feel like y'all all in the same. Don't y'all run into each other in LA and shit, or no?
Not really. Like I've seen him. He's not been in LA much.
Oh, he lives in like Puerto Rico, getting them tax breaks.
But like I don't. It is what it is. I'm gonna tell you my opinion. If I'm wrong, like I'm wrong. I think so. I can just base off of like, you know, this vein is so damn thick. It's just not. That's not a normal thing to happen, and to get bigger and leaner at the same time, like. That's not like a normal thing. Like you could look at his progression. It's great genetics, man. Maybe he's one of those guys that, like I said, puts into work, works hard enough, and gets that. So at the end of the day, it is what it is, you know. But I also know, like, if we're going off that kind of testing post and it's piss, it's like, yo, there's more efficient tests you could take. That would be a lot more conclusive. But you know, sell Prime if you want to. Because did you see the clip?
Yeah, no, I see it.
So you know,
it's about drinking Prime.
Yeah, it gives me energy. It's like, okay, bro, like I don't give a.
I mean, the celebrity boxing game, though, it's kind of like, are we really trying to... I'm going to be honest with you. I was surprised that Tommy Fury didn't knock out KSI. That's my guy. But, like, I thought there was... I thought Jake did as well as he could have done versus Tommy Fury. And the fact that he knocked him down, I gave him the ultimate credit. I thought there was just levels and leaps and bounds between what a Tommy Fury was, which I consider him quote unquote an actual boxer, versus a KSI. I'm thinking you're knocking this guy out.
Yeah,
like seeing that, it's made me now look at boxing like a lot different, and maybe not to the level of like a Canelo Alvarez or where those guys are at the top of the shit. But like, I still like. I remember I used to think, I'm like, yo, listen, we grab a journeyman and we put him like, but he's an actual boxer. We put him versus Jake Paul. He's knocked him the fuck out.
Yeah. Well, I think people really miscredit and undercredit how much actual work especially those guys have been putting in, because they're at the highest level of it and they have so many eyes on them that like they're probably really trying to actually learn as much as they can. And if we talk about KSI and Tommy Fury, I think the styles was very and I talked to Wade about this. I did on my pod. The styles was so misfortunate as far as the matchup, where like both of them couldn't really get off what they wanted to get off because they were both playing opposite games. So like KSI kept doing the like out and then come back in, try and get a big hit. But then, because he's just on that big ass overhand right, but then he would just end up hugging him. And then Tommy was trying to play this game, you know, like piece him up. And then, but then the guy's just coming in. So it's like their range just keeps clashing and they're hugging. And that's why I was making a joke like, they're just hugging the whole time. So the style is so like unfortunate. You're not going to see like, you know, if there was two Tommy Furies, you see like real boxing, what you would have expected.
Yeah.
But like, we also can't miscredit the work that those guys have put in, like knowing that they're going to be on that stage and all that shit's on. Like, it's like, you got to think, man, those guys at the highest game, Jake, Logan, KSI, they're at the top of that shit, and they have everything to lose.
Would you ever do a boxing? Yo, I heard Jake
boxing.
Said,
I want to do MMA.
Yo, Jake said he made 30 M's on a fight.
Bro, they're
30 fucking M's.
They're crushing.
Bro,
they're crushing. Shit. I wouldn't be surprised. And not only like that on the fight, it's like, they're probably the back end money on like sponsorships and all this other shit is probably just ridiculous. Unless it's getting lumped in and, you know, I'm not aware of it. But
why'd you do my boy Sneeko like that on the boxing, man? You'll punch him like you hated the fuck out of him, man.
Didn't. If you watch that clip back,
nah.
If you watch it back, there's if you thought I was like trying to, right? There's a moment where I stopped and he like spit something out. If I was trying to kill him, I would have just finished him.
No. Obviously not like that, but the energy and the look in your eye.
Okay, but that's
wasn't that of, hey, we're sparring, to just kind of, you know, it's like soft training. You know what I mean?
Okay,
it was like, yo,
look at this. Now look at this.
I'm trying to punch the shit out of you.
No, it's not. It was no, bro. There's no play and stuff like that, right?
Think about it.
Bro, I barely. I was slow as. Did you see it? I'm like,
nah, you were slow as fuck.
Come on, man. Like
you and Zerk would be good.
I was not trying to go hard at all. But look, understand what I'm trying to say, right? There's no way that goes good. And I told him multiple times before it happened. I said, yo, I don't want to do this. He's on the phone call, driving an SUV. Yo, let's do this. I was like, not a good idea. Like 2 times on the phone. Then in person.
He wanted to do this.
Yes.
Oh, I thought you.
Bro. And then in person, he did it with his videographer, and I watched it, and he pieced them up. And then he goes to me with the glove. Sneeko pieced his videographer up. Indian videographer pieced him up. Saw it. I was filming it because I had to get the camera. I had the IRL stream. I was filming it. Pieced him up. He comes to me, he's like, yo, you want to do it? I was like, nah, bro, it's not a good idea. Because I know there's one way this goes, right? It's like, no matter what we say it is, what the internet sees is they're fighting.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to do this. I'm like punching, and then what? Like, I don't win there. Like if I beat him up too much, or if I don't beat him up a little bit, or if I kind of play with him or not, it's like no matter what, I lose. No matter what, I'm the bully. And the funny thing is, no one sees the fact that I'm like, yo, I don't want to do this multiple times.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden, it's like the big guy's a bully. They shouldn't be doing this. Like I said,
there's,
we shouldn't do it.
There's like a 15-second clip where like he's just retreating and like, yo, you're swinging like the Hulk. Like,
I'm not even, bro. I wasn't even going hard though.
And I'm like, yo, damn, yo, this is exactly why weight class exists.
Yeah.
I would definitely.
Bro, he's honestly, I was shocked that he wanted to do that, and I was shocked that he did it.
He told me he wanted to spar with me.
You want to spar with him?
Huh?
You want to spar?
I spar with him.
He's long. Cool. You spar with him for real? Headgear?
Yeah, of course.
Damn, I want to watch that. Damn, I want to watch that shit. Yo, you gonna try to piece him up though, for real?
Listen, I've been trying to get in the ring with somebody.
Really?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
So what do you train? You boxing?
Like, listen, my stamina's ass. Like, obviously, like, I wouldn't like do it in a event, but like that's like a sparring session. I'm like, bro, I definitely can't go like 3 rounds. You get what I mean? Like, stamina is trash. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not like, yo, we're taking elongated breaks in between these little rounds. But you know, I think my hands are kind of there.
They're there.
I think,
Damn.
and I think I have decent defense. So, you know what I mean?
I want to see it.
Shit, I want to test myself and see it too.
Damn. So you gonna do it on the stream? I'm assuming.
Yeah, I told him, I'm like, yeah, we can do it on stream.
What did he say? He said he's down.
Yeah, but Sneako's all over the place. That's the thing with IRL streaming, man. Like, you guys live on the well, maybe not you personally, but like, he lives on a plane. Like, he came from Japan, came to Las Vegas,
Yeah, so
here
did
for
I.
2 days. Like, he's streaming, running around, and then I'm like, yo. Then he's on another plane going to LA. It's like ridiculous. Like, when do you stop? Then he has to go back to Miami. Like, bro.
Yeah, my life's like that for sure too. But it's because like I do a lot of content with Steve, and we kind of live in between like LA, Vegas, Miami. So there's a lot of moving around, like a ton, man.
I hate flying too much, and I hate being in hotels too long.
Yeah, I fucking
Like, it's
hate this
just
shit.
like I miss my home, bro.
What do you do that's not work related? Probably a hard answer for you. Like, what do you actually enjoy?
Probably video games. That's it.
Oh my God, you're just like me. You're just like me.
No. We went to a haunted house recently. Like, that was for her. I actually have fun though. Like, it's one of the few things that I'm like, yo, like, for me, like, dating me is probably horrible because, like for example, she had like a million things she want to do out here. I'm like, yo, well, listen, like, Yachty invited me to a concert, and I'm like, well, I'm going to a Yachty concert. That should be good for you, right? But that's really still things that's within work.
Yeah, but it's for you.
Yeah. It's like,
that's
all right,
funny.
cool. All right, check this out. So we're gonna go do this pod. Let's take 2 shots. Let's go do this pod with Bradley real quick. Let's gamble, then go to the Yachty concert. To me, that's like a fucking hell of a day.
Yeah.
To her, that's like, yeah,
Yeah.
motherfucker. Like, this is probably not the most fun thing for her, but you know what I mean? Got to grind it out till January.
What video?
January, I'm gonna take like a little, you know, a week. I'm gonna try to see if I could do a week. Like, you know,
A week off.
well, yeah. Like, go to another country, like, see if I could sit there on the beach or go ride ATVs or
Where
some dumb
does
shit.
she want to go? Where do you want to go?
No, we're going to Jamaica. It gotta be Jamaica.
yeah.
I was born in Jamaica.
Really?
I was born in Jamaica. I came over here right before 9/11.
How many years you spent in Jamaica?
10 years.
Oh, that's like your whole childhood, for real.
Yeah.
Interesting. I didn't know that. What's your like family life like?
Most of my family's there. My mom, 2 brothers are here. I have my aunt and her son and her husband here. And then a lot of my family, they moved back because the older they got, you know, they like, you know, we all looked at, you know, you're born in Jamaica, like, you look at America as the land of opportunity. You come here and get money, but ultimately so different culturally, and tradition wise from what you're used to. Like, a lot of them move back.
Yeah.
And
What do the people in your family think about what you've become, like what you're doing?
it's like surreal.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? It's surreal to them. Like, my mom, like, I think it got my mom into like social media stuff. Like, she almost reads too much. But like, it's one of those things where, like, you know, I retired her and everything. Like, she's always like, saying, hey, don't this up. Like, this is like a blessing that I never had. She came over here working 3 jobs didn't have papers or anything like that. You know what I mean? Like, she came over here so naive. My mom got scammed like 10,000, like her whole life savings. She ran to some random person who was just like, hey, you give me this money. anyway, so she went through the ringer, never had a car for multiple years, used to have to walk 3 miles to like, get around to, just different jobs that she had. And obviously for her, she's like ecstatic because like it's different now. You get what I mean? But she's like, she watches almost too much of my stuff.
Yeah, my mom was like that too. She'll be like, "What happened here? What happened here?" I'm like, "Yo, relax. You gotta like answer." I'm like answering the same questions.
Like if you look at my mom text message to me, like it's a lot of her just sending me cautionary tales. Like, hey, look what happened to him. Look, you want to slow down on these things. Hey, I don't like you drinking too much. Hey, be careful of women. Like she's all on
real
that.
mom stuff.
Yeah, no,
like,
of course.
Okay, so on that note, like when as you like started to do all this stuff, as far as like your success, when did it really start to hit? And like and why do you think it really started to hit? Was it just because of the solo stuff that you were doing? Like was there anyone in the industry that like kind of gave you like help or like your first break?
Not really. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like I'm one of the. It's a little bit of luck. I definitely think it's. I hate to say anything is just pure luck. So it's a little bit of luck. It's a little bit of me being there at the right time, which I guess is
for
luck.
sure.
But also me doing something that was. I did it in a very, I don't call it genius, but in hindsight, it felt like it was just a genius move. So for example, I became like the number one source for just like the dissemination of just hip hop news. And the reason why was just that it was so slow and clunky, just like any, going into this internet era where there's these internet media corporations, everyone was just slow and clunky. For example, if, I don't know, say Lil Durk gets arrested, obviously I don't wish that happened, that's my guy, but if he gets arrested today, hip hop really doesn't know about it. The details doesn't come about till tomorrow. And if it happens on like a Friday or Saturday, you have to wait till Monday to really figure it out. I became the guy who was like, hey, listen, I'm going to turn this around and give you all the information that we can find on it. ASAP within a couple of hours, right? And, now I think we're at the point now where I think that's just natural. Like, I think that's the reason why Drama Alert stuff, like, me and Keem were mad cool. Like, that's why Drama Alert, I think they even stopped doing videos. I kind of stopped doing videos like that too, but there was a time when if you wanted to know what was going on in the influencer space, you would watch Drama Alert every day, right? They would be quick with it. I think now it's like they don't even do videos anymore like that. They just tweet it. Because that's how quick people want the information,
it just gets
right?
pulled everywhere.
So it's like, for example, I'm on a stream with Sneeko, something happens, 2 seconds later,
it's clipped.
So
bro, it's so crazy.
Yes, so I benefited from that, like fucking blew up, and then I covered some of the biggest like events at that time. For example, when Drake and Meek Mill were beefing, I was the number one guy to like I was dissecting lyrics. I was like telling all these things that were happening behind the scenes that no one would know.
But how would you know that?
Well, really, mostly relying off either these people behind the industry who really wanted these stories known, but they can't say it themselves, or sometimes we just fans. Like, like, for example, I told Dirk this. I say, yo, Dirk, I found out that there was there was a shooting at Dirk's crib, right? So some dudes ran in or whatever the case is.
This is kind of recently, right?
Yeah. I was the first one to figure it out. I gave TMZ the lead on it. TMZ contacted the police there and confirmed it. How did I find it out? Bro, in my DMs, like, there's a kid hits me up. He says, yo, bro, I live down the street from him in blah, blah, blah. The police have been here all morning. Somebody was shot, or there were shots fired in Dirk's crib. I do my due diligence real quick. I'm like, all right, the person got it right. No one knows Dirk lives here. That's right. Okay, cool. Hey, send me some video, blah, blah. I did enough that I'm like, this shit really happened. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
That's how. So those type of things would kind of like just give me the edge over just everyone else.
So
Also,
almost even like the audience.
Most of the biggest leads come from the audience. I read every DM that comes. I get over probably like, and I'm talking like hidden DM requests. Like, I don't even look in the regular DM thing. I look in the hidden. I look for fans.
Yeah.
I read what fans say. So it's like I probably get like, I don't know, thousands of DMs a day. Like, she probably think I'm talking to a chick. Like, I'm just scrolling through DMs, like, just to see if like there's a tip there. Like, yo, this happened. Hey, this guy got into a fight. This happened, blah, blah, over here. because that's how you really get the jump on it. Because these days we really live in a culture where there's not gonna be paparazzi capturing some shit going on. It's gonna be something happening where it's gonna be a regular person around.
Yeah, they get a
and
video.
they might have a video, or they might just witnessed it, and they're gonna tell you something like, "Hey, listen, I think he just got picked up by the cops." Okay, your response say where? You can go check the booking real quick if you have a certain type of contacts. You speak to because law enforcement helps out a lot, and then you get to realize that now you're breaking news stories, and that's how you kind of get people to believe you more. That's how you get more people you become more reliable. So the Drake and Meek Mill thing, it kind of like, that's when I hit 1 million subscribers, and that was in 2015. And I remember I had like multiple channels, but like I had got a couple channels deleted. That's when I was still in that little iffy place with YouTube. Like, damn, is this gonna be sustainable, or am I possibly gonna get deleted one day? Because like the content I was doing, I did this thing called The War in Chirac. It was a little edgy.
Yeah.
And I was like, is this gonna happen? But over time, media shifted. I noticed like I would get up in the morning and listen to like The Breakfast Club, Hot 97, and when they would report news, they would just cite me. They were like, hey, Akademiks, we got this story from Akademiks.
Wow, that's
You get what
crazy.
I mean? And then there were these magazines that are in hip hop, whether the Source, XXL. Instead of them writing articles that were like done by their own research, they would just all credit me. Hey, as reported by Akademiks, I'm like, yo, I'm like the plug for all this shit now, right? So as time goes on, people are like, yo, we're just gonna go to him. So and all became all about the internet culture, where everyone's like, yo, we want it on Instagram and on YouTube, and I kind of blew up with that mainly.
So do you think clips are like what do you think is going to happen with that? Like, because clips are now everything.
Yeah.
Do you think it's more beneficial, or is it going to like? I feel like it kind of creates issues.
I mean, if we're talking about the context, and if we're talking about the veracity of like what's being said or is something true, obviously that's going to be a problem. But it's probably the reason why most of these new creators are popping.
Clips,
You know what I mean? Yes.
100%.
Like when I talk to them, they tell me, they're like, yo, if we're literally, the content we're doing is to get a bunch of clips.
Yeah, and I feel like most people don't even watch the full thing anymore. They just watch a clip, which makes it kind of like you have to be a little bit more concise with your words in that moment.
Yeah, well, I know creators who specifically create for the clip. You know what I mean? Where it's like they make sure the clip is clean. The clip isn't like some you got to cut up 20 times. It's like that's how their content creation is, which means you don't need to watch them for 2 hours. You just need to see those 3 clips, and those 3 clips is the stream. But here's the thing: that's gonna get circulated on TikTok, Twitter.
Yeah,
it's gonna be everywhere. Snapchat, all over the place.
Discord, it's everywhere.
Exactly. So, and it just kind of fuels like this algorithm of just gaining new followers. And I think the majority of the people, like when I see like speed of like 20 million,
Bro.
like 20 million YouTube, a lot of it is he has a lot of viral clips. Kai too. Yo, you know the music industry is so crazy. I said this to him recently. I said every label like in music that promotes hip hop come to me and submit stuff to me to try to promote their artists, right? I'm just like one of the prominent outlets. These days when they come to me, 8 out of 10 times they're sending me Kai's reaction to their artist music. It's odd. Well, not odd, but it's
Well,
just
that's like what they did with you. As you just explained.
yeah. But now, Kai's the guy right now. So
Yeah.
They'll be like, okay, Sexy Red drops a song. This is Kai reacting to Sexy Red dropping a song, right?
Like, what do you think about it? What's your take on it?
No. They'll submit that clip to like either be posted on the Instagram or whatever, circulated on Twitter, or whatever the case is.
Oh, that's their like promo.
That's their promo.
Oh
You know why?
my
Because
God.
Kai is like so popular now that they're funneling music through his lens. And they know we have a better chance of people go checking out the music if they could see that Kai liked it. And that's been going on for like
Holy fuck.
it's been going on for like the last year. And I told Kai, I'm like, I'm gonna tell you what comes with that. It's gonna be so much power, but so much pressure.
Yeah.
Because now anytime you don't like something, they're gonna be mad at you. They're gonna call you a hater.
What did that? He recently got blocked by that girl.
Yeah, Glorilla.
Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah, so it's he's a guy right now, but I love to see where people like Kai, Speed, and Aiden are at and what they're doing because I kind of look at it like this, and I said to my audience, and they was like, "Yo, why do I say it like that?" Because I don't think I'm getting a bunch of like new 16-year-olds following me. I think my content matured a little bit.
Yeah.
And I do think I'm picking up people along the way, but I don't think I'm going to jump to 20 million. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I think what Kai and Speed are doing is great for live streaming because it's just broadening the market. And there's going to be a day, right? Maybe it's going to be 20 years from now that the new Kai and Speed are going to have like 80 million people subscribe to them on YouTube. Or
Just such a crazy thought.
it's
It's
going that way.
realistic, yeah.
It's going that way. You know what I mean? That's why I've never been a jealous creator. I've always said like, listen, I think I did my part. Like I'm on some Martin Luther King shit, man. I might not make it over there with y'all, but I did my part.
Yeah.
I had a dream. You get what I mean?
paved
Like
the way.
Yeah. I did my part, but like, I speak to Kyle out and I give him advice, and I'm like, man, the baton is in your hand. Like you gotta, like this shit is. I'm telling you, rappers aren't as popular as these streamers.
Yeah, everyone's talking about that.
It's true. Like, they're not as popular as these streamers. They can't. First of all, these guys are keeping people's attention for hours.
Yeah.
Some of these rappers can't keep your attention for 3 minutes.
So fucking crazy. Yeah, the streaming shit's fun, man. I love it. I love
it too. I
want to see you fight Sneeko now.
Oh
So
man, that's
bad.
because you want to
Go
knock
boxing.
him out. Look
No,
at
no. It's not
Yo,
that
you
at all.
did it already, or you
Bro,
begging
no,
me?
it's all love.
man.
It's all love, bro. I love Sneeko. It's all love. I just want to see. I want to be there.
Do you think Sneeko got hands?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think he don't not have hands.
Well, I'm gonna tell you how it's gonna be structured because I'm telling you, he's definitely gonna win a endurance battle with me.
Right.
So as long as we're making sure it's not that, it'll be good.
Damn.
Be good.
I want to be there. I want to see it in person. You should do it in L.A. Oh, where are you going to New York?
Yeah, going back to New York.
Okay.
Yo, I hate the flight over here, but do you come to New York often?
I hate flying to New York. I hate New York.
Anything over
dude.
4 hours, like, I have anxiety too, man. Like severe anxiety. I don't know. It built up over the last couple of years.
I feel that.
Where it's like, I'm gonna be honest with you, and this is gonna sound bougie to the audience. I can't fly anywhere. I can't fly anywhere if it's not first class. Like I remember I almost died on the plane. I almost died on the plane. Like when I mean died, like literally, I was about to act up like, yo, land this motherfucker immediately. Like I'm one of those. Like I can't even. My brain is just going crazy. Like I try to close my eyes, and it's like claustrophobia and anxiety, and it's like a panic attack. It's like I feel like I'm trapped.
What do you think's causing that though? Just the fear of.
I don't know because I used to be able to fly perfectly before.
Yeah.
And then over time, like actually yesterday I didn't even say anything. She knows this. It happened yesterday, but it was like we all get into this SUV. Right? It happened outside. We get into that SUV, and at first I'm in the back, but there's no windows in the back because it was third row seating, and my brain just like said, "Get the fuck out of this car immediately." And I couldn't even explain it in words what was happening. So I just like made up a bullshit. I was like, I think I left something in the casino. And I had to get out. And then when I got back in, I just had to be at the where a window is at that I could.
You had to breathe and shit. Then you get real panic attack. It's a panic attack, for real. Did
know
she
if I
help you?
Well, I don't think she ever knew.
Did she make fun of you? Or did she help you?
Nah, she's making fun of me, man. She's
No,
making fun of me.
you make fun of him?
Come on, man. She's making fun of me.
No.
Yeah.
You got to be sweet. I have really bad anxiety. I've had really bad.
You take any, like, you don't take medication, right?
No, I'm afraid. I don't want to get into that because then you start relying on that shit. Yeah. But I know what it feels like to be in places like that where it's like, yo, I just be like, yo, just like someone else talk to me so I can get out of my head.
That's happened too before where like, I remember I was talking to someone on FaceTime and like I told them, you have to stay on FaceTime. I was on a plane.
Yeah.
I need to figure out some mental exercises to do.
Breathing exercises for sure. Really? And the key is too that I've realized is when you're not having those moments or those episodes, practicing like, you probably don't do this like because you're so integrated into what you're doing and like making content and probably posting and being on top of the game and all this like being ahead of the next person. your brain is wired. Like imagine all the 10 years of you being like, I gotta be there, I gotta be there, I gotta be, like you've integrated that like sort of like thought process in your brain. And that's like, you can't unravel that by just being like, yo, I'm good. Like you gave yourself that like it's now. And like, so it starts to distort other things that are happening to you. And your reactionary to them are just like, so my point is you have to spend time, not just when you're in it, like breathing exercise will help you. Like if you could just keep bringing your mind back to your breath, like breathe into your belly, breathe it back, just keep it back to your breath. Every time it goes there, somewhere else, like the window, a claustrophobe, whatever, bring it back to your breath. And then when you're not having those moments, you have to practice some like form of meditation. Because like I told you, imagine for the last 10 years, you've spent all this time being like, I need to get this, I need to be there, I need to say this, I need to have this.
You're kind of right. My mind never has any type of stillness.
That's my point. So you've done that for 10, 15 years where you're like, I need to do this, I got to get it, I got to be ahead, I got to post, I got to whatever, I got to do this and I got to do that, I have a phone call. Like you built that sort of pathway in your brain to just continue to act that way. So that's what your default is. So when things kind of get a little tricky, you go crazy down that degree, like all the way down that line, right? So you have to develop the other habit of like calmness, stillness. So you have to spend like 20 minutes a day at least where you're just like, yo, I'm sitting here and I'm just focused on my breath. So when you get in those moments, you can be like, okay, this is starting to be more comfortable. I'm more used to this now. So you build that habit. So when you're out of whack, you can come back to the other habit. You see what I'm saying?
No, you're making absolute perfect sense. Yeah, I'm telling you, man.
I'm a scientist.
I really don't know how it's, but it feels like the worst thing that's happening.
Bro, I've been there so many times, man. I've had the worst anxiety. Like I'll wake up in the middle of the night, be like, yo, I'm gonna have a heart, I'm gonna die. I'll call my girl, like, yo, you gotta talk to me. Like,
So funny. There was a time that I used to be like, yo, man, like I would almost clown people who were going through these things. Like, yo, what?
Bro.
Like, bro, like, yo, get over it, man. And then it started happening to me.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, I'm telling you, it's like, yeah, no, I'm definitely gonna try that.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, I've gotten so much better because of those practices. Like I've just stilled my mind. And like I said, you build that habit so that it's more comfortable when you try to come back to it. Because you're way more used to like stimulus. Even your same thing, what you love to do outside, video games. To me, I'm like, no, this is chill for me. Your brain is still like, figure it out. Like, what are you playing? Like Call of Duty?
Yeah.
Bro, that's super stimulating.
Call of Duty, Fortnite, 2K.
I can't wait. I can't wait for that the beta was fun. I love video games. But same thing, like that was my like calm pastime, but it's not calm. Like it's calm to you because you're used to it. Just like all your other deciding and figuring things out, you're used to it. That doesn't mean it's calm for your nervous system. Like it's still firing. So you have to develop the other habits. And so that's all I've done I'm telling you, has like fucking fixed me. Like I still have moments where I'm like, oh, this is uncontrollable. But I'm way better at reeling it in, and like I have way less of those moments now because I had to do the work to get there.
Yeah, it's in the moments I can't stop the thought.
Yeah.
Like it's like I'm trying to stop the thought, and I try with closing my eyes, but that's all I see at that point.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense. Like I'm trying to like just block it out, but there's no reservoir of stillness or like maybe meditation or something like that.
Yeah.
That could be like, okay, this is how you calm and this is how you relax. This is how you
Yeah.
kind of let everything go.
Breath. Just think about your breath. Like literally be like, okay, I'm breathing. I'm focusing on my breath. Even if you just repeat it to yourself, I'm focusing on my breath. Eventually, you'll bring your consciousness to that. And yeah, it might stray away. Just keep saying it, and then do it. Feel it. Like say it, and then do it physically. Like you can put your hand on your stomach and be like, and just keep doing that, and then you just bring yourself there. And it's a repetition. Just like how it was a repetition to get to the other way you are.
Yeah.
Because that's why it's new to you. It's like you developed it.
Right. Yeah. This never happened.
It's just not normal. Like this kind of shit, this like shit that we do, and like you got to post and you got to like figure this out. It's not normal. None of this is all brand new territory.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you. Like I think most of the stuff I do now for work is like I'm so on autopilot. Like I could forget that I do shit. But it's just so like even like posting on Instagram. Like
Yeah.
like my media page, I have to approve everything that goes up there. That's like we're talking about like 50,000 posts in like the last like couple of years.
Yeah.
Which means every day there's like 20, 30 things going up. And I have to, but it's like automatically. I don't even think about it.
You know quickly.
Yeah, it's kind of like how you do any normal chore. But that's like I'm wired for it.
Yeah.
Like completely wired. Which obviously that's like years of programming type shit.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. You got to program the stillness. Otherwise, it can get worse, which is scary. Because I was like, I'm to the point where like I remember 3-4 years ago before I kind of fixed it, bro. I was like, I'm calling the fire department. I'm calling the ambulance. Like it's so bad. I'm not sleeping. I'm like, I'm gonna die straight up. And they come, they're like, yo, are you good? Like, you need an Ativan, which is like a sleep / like anxiety medication. And it's like, I'm like, I can't live like this. I can't keep like I think something's wrong with me. You know, I get to the point it gets so mental that it gets physical. It's really scary. It's way better now because I got to the point where it was so bad that I'm literally driving myself to the ER and the nurses are like, they put the EKG. I'm like, I'm gonna have a heart attack. I feel pain in my chest. They put the EKG in me and they're like, yo, you're good. Nothing's wrong with you.
Yo, when I'm on the plane, the moment they lock the door.
Yeah.
No, I'm serious. No, like you know you can kind of hear when
Your
they
heart
lock the
start
door?
pounding?
No, and then I look through the window, and just because the window is so small, I feel trapped. I feel like I'm trapped in a submarine. Like,
Bro.
I swear, like I'm like, yo, I'm trapped in this tube. And I'm looking outside, and outside looks so broad and bright. And it looks like it's so free, it's like fresh air. And I'm like in this thing, and I'm like, why did I even agree to get on this fucking plane?
Dude.
I think Khaled used to have like, he used to have some anxiety shit. He used to never fly. DJ Khaled used to drive a bus. If he had to go to New York, he would start driving days before.
Bro, that's fucking
That shit was crazy.
That's insane.
Now, once he popped off on Snapchat, like he was just like, I gotta get on a jet.
Yeah,
like,
you remember that? Where's the key?
yeah.
That's so crazy.
He got it right though.
Yeah. But yeah, man, you got to practice more things that get you just calm still. Otherwise, like it does get worse. Because I experienced it for real, like years ago, really bad. And I feel so much better. I can't say it's gone because still moments, but what it was is like 100 versus like a fucking 5 now.
Yeah.
I fixed it. But yo, I appreciate you coming on this. I know you got some shit to do. You got to go to the Yachty pod.
Yeah.
I mean the concert.
Yeah. No, of course. We should have been done this a long time ago, man. This is gonna be one of many.
Yeah, for sure. And if you ever need anything from me, I'm always here. I appreciate you for real doing this like pretty last minute too, by the way. Thank you.
Of course. How long are you in Vegas for?
We might leave tonight. It depends on what Steve's talking about because he's blowing my shit up. But oh shit, he just said, can you talk about 6ix9ine on your pod too? Could potentially be a good title. Fuck.
I wanted Steve here to.
I know.
I wanted him here to kind of like break down that nuance because like
Yeah.
there's so many layers of it. It's a little deep too because I've heard other stuff too, which is like I've also heard was like, listen, because I'm like start running up the chain. I'm like, damn, it's 6ix9ine just and I've heard that it was a little Steve too. I heard Steve didn't do everything he needed to do for that situation as well.
In regards to him personally or the team?
Well, so remember, Steve signed for 6ix9ine, right?
Yes.
And 6ix9ine was supposed to do some deliverables and streams and promotion for Steve's content.
Yes.
From what I hear, Steve also didn't complete some of his content. You get what I mean?
Like he wasn't making content for Danny to be a part of.
No. I'm saying his deliverables weren't all completed either. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
This is from my understanding. Danny definitely didn't do shit, right?
Yeah.
But also Steve, it's not like he hit his checkbox.
See, that's why we gotta have Steve here.
For real.
Yeah.
And it's a long convoluted thing from what I hear.
Yeah. So I'm assuming you're hearing this from Rumble.
I can't say nothing.
I mean, there's no other. I mean, I'm not stupid. You're not stupid. It doesn't matter. It's fine.
I mean, listen, put 2 and 2 together.
Right. So yeah, I don't know about the details in all of that stuff. I just know what I saw from the outside, and to me, it looked like a 6ix9ine that wasn't making content, wasn't doing stuff on the internet, wasn't dropping music, and Steve who was flourishing as a YouTuber, and Steve really liked his music.
Again, and this is what I'm saying, like, well, the 6ix9ine and Steve relationship, I care more about that.
Yeah.
I care more about that than everything else. But I hear there's just more complexities to this like deal situation.
Yeah, I don't know enough about it.
If there was a blame to be given out from the people who I've heard it from, they attributed more to Steve.
Really?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
And because
why didn't you say that last night?
I didn't know. I'm finding these things out afterwards, brother. Like,
Oh my
yeah,
God.
I'm finding these things out afterwards.
Because okay, so for understanding, we were having this conversation last night about doing this pod.
Yeah.
So that conversation must have happened after we had that conversation.
Yeah,
Well, we gotta have Steve here for this. Man.
well, the powers. They knew I was doing the pod. I was like, yeah.
Oh, that's crazy.
So I was like, listen, hey.
So you get the info. Oh, dude, this is what you're good at.
I'm not anyone defense squad, but I'd like to be armed with info that I could have a conversation. Because usually when I have a conversation, if I'm not armed with info, it's gonna go one way. Like the person who's more knowledgeable is gonna.
Yeah.
So I found out a few things which I wanted to like ask about. Because from my understanding of that deal is way more. It's way more. Way more about Steve than 6ix9ine. You know what I mean?
The deal going south.
Well, in what's important of what the goal was, right? Of course, 6ix9ine do shit, right? That's not negotiable. But there would be more salvageable parts of the deal if apparently Steve had done more.
I see.
Which it's the first time I've ever even heard that like Steve might have been in, you know what I mean, in the wrong too.
Shit. I don't know shit about
now, granted, still has nothing to do with 6ix9ine. Does not shoot him bail. 6ix9ine probably wouldn't even know that himself, but that's what I'm hearing.
Interesting. Well, dude, we're going to have to do another one or something, maybe on your pod or something.
Yeah.
Because I want to talk about it for real.
No, listen,
I know Steve really wants to talk about it.
I'm here till Saturday, man. I'm here till Saturday. I know you.
I just like getting down to the shit.
Yeah.
For real.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If he was here, I'd be like, listen, this is what I'm hearing. You tell me your side, because I got a pretty good gauge on what the other side is. And
damn.
Like, I mean,
we'll wait to do that then. Maybe we'll do it maybe before I leave. Because I think it'd be a good convo.
what do you all right,
Go ahead, yeah.
What do you think his relationship now is with Rumble?
Whose relationship?
Steve.
What do I think or what do I know?
What do you know?
I don't think it's the best.
But they have a relationship still.
Yeah. I mean, I know he's not a part of it like he was. And I know that like there's certain like, having to pay back.
Hey, that's what I'm saying. It's much more complicated because I think there's stuff that still needs to be resolved. But like even like last night, right? Like you guys streamed, right?
Yeah.
Like I think these are the things that kind of also come into play because they're like, well, after all that shit happens, if you're streaming, why aren't you on Rumble?
Is that the question? You asking me that?
Well,
why would I? No one paid me to ever be anywhere.
Not you.
Yeah.
But you're streaming with Steve.
Yeah, but we do a show together. So no one's ever had a conversation with me about that.
No, not you.
Yeah.
But Steve.
But he's not a part of it anymore. I think they've agreed that like they're going two different ways.
But there's some sources.
Yeah. No, so from what I understand, that they came to a conclusion of like, okay, we're good here. You owe this.
No. From what I hear, there's content that still has to be produced.
Oh, I don't know that.
Which I guess that's these situations get tricky. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know that.
I guess if that's the situation, again, if it's true, it would be like, okay, well, all right, we've came to some type of like agreement or settlement. Now you kind of owe us some shit, right? This is how we're gonna kind of resolve it, but you owe us content, and then we see you making content for a rival.
Yeah, I get it.
You know what I mean?
So I mean, I hate to be make me the bad guy here, but like, I like Kick. I don't dislike Rumble. I like Rumble, but no one's ever talked to me about money anywhere. So I'm gonna go where I think if I'm like, okay,
this has nothing to do with you, but
Yeah.
I think it's more about Steve.
Yeah, but it's our show, mine and Steve's show. So,
but I don't know how I don't know if his deal is like an exclusive or was it. I don't know how they have settled something.
Yeah.
I don't know if this settlement is like, yo, hey, listen, you got to go do a bunch of hours or these amount of hours here.
yeah,
But something of the sort. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. I think like we're obviously not going to get the people who could give the answer from Rumble up here to fucking talk about it.
Right.
So me armed with some of the information I know, that's why I got to talk to Steve.
yeah, we should do it. I want to do it, and I have nothing against Rumble. I like no bad things to say about any of those platforms. Yeah, they're dope as. I had a good conversation with Chris. Like, I have no issues with him. For me, I was just like this. When I look at it, this made the most sense for me. So I was like, let me
Well,
try
you have a deal
that.
with Kick?
No, I don't have a deal. But I don't have a deal with anyone exclusively. But I'm having conversations about it.
Kick's giving the bag up, man, from what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
I'm wondering how long they're going to keep giving the bag up.
I mean, look at their backing though, right?
I mean, well, I know the gambling stuff, but like if you start talking about like my favorite conversations I have is business. You know what I mean? Like I love the fact that I'm a creator, but like entrepreneur / businessman, like that's a lot of shit that kind of gets my blood boiling these days. Like how do you like it's all these bags given out. You have to think about how does this company monetize?
How does it convert?
Yeah, how does it convert, right? Like, all right, like because we're hearing certain amount of money being given out to this creator, that creator is like, how like for example, I was having a hypothetical conversation. I'm like, okay, if I'm Kick, right? Aiden, I know the amount he got, but let's just say he got an exorbitant amount of money and a percentage in Kick. But then you get somebody like Neon, right? Now, if I'm the guy who's running Kick, do I even like? Obviously, Neon isn't Aiden, but what's the value of Neon if? And this is my summation right now. I could be wrong on this. I believe that they're pulling from the same audience pool. I don't think Neon is pulling viewers that Aiden can't pull. Do you know what I mean?
You mean getting new users to the platform?
Exactly.
Right.
So then, do I pay twice for the same thing? Or do I then basically say, hey, listen, it really was first come, first serve. He got the big bag. You got to take marginally
So
less.
two things here. You're right, and so not wrong really, but you're right. Now it then would come down to time, hours on the platform, right? Because number of people on the platform is one thing, and then hours of usage is another thing in relationship to like money and like how you can monetize a platform.
But they're not the only monetization there. There's no ads, nothing. It has to be. Well,
everything is really new there.
But obviously the 6ix9ine is though. Clearly.
Yeah.
Like that's so like I don't even think 6ix9ine gives. I wonder if 6ix9ine's even like responded to him. Like
he has a few times.
Like
I saw a few things where he's like, but I think after Steve said something online, he was like, "Fuck it."
Yeah.
You know, it's unfortunate because like I just saw the friendship too. I saw everything behind the scenes where it's like, but dude, I don't know all the details. Like it's hard for me to really speak on it. I can only speak on what I know. But I think it'd be cool. It'd be dope, honestly, if we can get them both here.
Yeah.
That'd be crazy.
No.
That'd be dope.
No, I agree.
That's the best way to do it because then everyone can say whatever but.
Well, I don't think 6ix9ine would do it though.
Nah, I don't think so either.
Like, let me say this. And like, I think you guys were around him at a point where like, I think hip hop was just so like done with him. And he was in that place of just not knowing where his future lied in music, but even still realizing he's still a star. And, you know, I always tell people, I'm like, yo, he's like this enigma that is always going to be popular because of not only the brand that he has, how he looks, but like what he's been through. But when he was around Steve at first, like that was a point of like not only visibility, but giving him a chance of being liked. Like, you know, he's kind of like me in a way where like, well, even much worse than me, where he's basked in this like almost antagonizing and people hating you realm for so long that when I saw him with Steve, I was like, oh, bro, he's actually coming off likable. Like he's showing daddy. He's not showing 6ix9ine. Like I've been there when I've seen the change.
Yeah, we used to talk about it like Danny versus 6ix9ine.
Yeah, you know what I mean. And I would think there's some appreciation and like some almost like a debt of gratitude.
Yeah, but that's the question, right? Like part of me is like, does he understand that was even like a thing that was not given to him because he was there and he was a part of it, but like that it was happening? Like, do you think he's even aware of that?
Like, what do you mean?
Do you think he was aware of what you just said? Meaning, do you think he was aware of the fact that he did get a whole different light shined on him when he started making content with Steve? That's the point, right? So that's the thing that starts to become like money and all this stuff aside is like, that's where it sucks, where it's like, yo, you just would have pretend like none of this really like had any good.
Well, he has rapper lens on.
Yeah.
And the rapper lens is like, yo, you guys gain more from me being around you than I gain from, like, really, I gain nothing.
But
you
it's
guys
also
gain
like
everything.
if I, you know, from Steve's point of view, is like he actually got the most shit from everyone else on his team from fucking around with him.
Yeah.
So Steve was actually dealing. He wasn't. I mean, he was gaining because he's like, you know, this relationship, but there was so much on the back end that was happening that was causing disruption. That is like, he was dealing with more shit than like he probably would have ever dealt with in relationship to everything else he was doing because of like the association. Because, you know, like you said, all the other people in the industry that say blackballed him, this, whatever, that. Like Steve then being a part of a company that's like in relationship to like, you know, moving into that culture, into that space is then, oh, that's your guy with that guy. Oh, we're good. You know what I'm saying? Like, so he created like a, I don't know, like a space for him to be in where it's like it could be a problem for him in relationship to everything else for Steve.
The only thing,
Like he put his neck out kind of.
listen, and people give me a harsh criticism to say because I'm friends with him, I don't criticize him publicly. If there's one thing I could critique him about, which I just don't like about how he moves with certain things, is that he'll rock with you for like 10 years and you'll be in the trenches with him. You'll be in like the fucking dugout, like you'll be going to war with him. And it'll take one day and he'll never get again. Like
Well,
that's like that to me is a little psychotic. You know what I mean? It's
insane.
like with your friends, you almost, even if you think there's an issue there, you actually try to work it out. This and third, like he'll just cut you off. It's over.
Bro, you said something to me like last night about like that, and I was referencing like the only chick that I was managing. Like, you know, when it's no money, it's all good.
Yeah.
But when it's like, you know, now you own 20%, 30%, whatever.
Yeah, no, I learned that from my man. I got to give my man Wayno credit. Yo, he was managing an artist. Artist had nothing. You know what I mean? Like he's paying for like Uber rides, this and third. Okay, the artist starts getting like some money. Okay, $100 comes in. You know, everybody's breaking off bread. It's like, all right, here's 20. 1,000 comes in. All right, cool. Here's like 200.
Yeah.
The artist gets signed, gets like a deal with Nike. $2 million comes in. He looks at it. The percentage, you know, the percentage on 20% of that would have been $400,000.
Yeah.
He's like, yo, I'm about to send you 100,000. It's like, wait, that's not the math. That's you mean 400,000? Like, nah, it's like 100. Take it or leave it.
Yeah.
And that's how rappers view money, because rappers look at the money coming in. Like they're signing these contracts and they see $4 million. They hate it when they have to pay out, oh, my agent gets this, my manager gets this, the booking agent gets this. I'm walking away instead of $2 million with 1.3. It bothers them. And then they start looking at their team. They're like, yo, what is this motherfucker doing? What is he? And then they start thinking, like, a lot of artists now, they don't even do the manager thing. Kodak, 6ix9ine, you know, they start saying, why the I'm taking all the risk here. I'm the guy. I'm the man. Why the is he getting 20%?
Yeah. Well, that makes sense.
He should get what I give him.
That makes sense now, but it's like if someone started with you from zero and like put you in the place and like put you on the map, then it's like, where's your debt?
No, in reality, it never makes sense. Like if you really think about a real manager, like a real manager, like isn't somebody who's just signing contracts for you or just like collecting money.
Yeah.
A real manager is going to be getting and soliciting opportunities for you, bringing money to the table, leveraging your brand, doing all those type of things. Yes, that person is part of the business team. It ain't because the money gets big now. You're like, oh, okay, you get 100,000 instead of your 20%. But an artist, because they're a valued commodity, they start looking at themselves like, yo, I really don't need you.
This egotistical. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, no, of course. But I'm telling you, I've heard about it with some athletes, not all. I've heard about it with every rapper. Okay? Certain athletes, that's how they feel. Every rapper, that's how they feel. Trust and believe. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
Usually, anytime you hear an artist say that their lawyers robbed them or their business manager, the first thing you should say, can you do math? Because the first, like I'm telling you, I've been around these people when they're literally saying, yo, yo, they took this money out. I'm like, yo, wait, did you think that the 10 million that came in just all went to you? Like, you do know you've been having a booking agent that literally is contracted that for everything that they book for you, they take 10%, right? Your manager who's dealing with the booking agent, granted, it's your job to negotiate with these people and say, hey, listen, I think I'm a big artist now. Hey, unless we could even do a severance, get you out of here, but you got to go down to 10% or whatever the case is, or I'll pay on some other different payment schedule. But if the agreement always was 10% for that person, 20% for this person, right? You're not going to be walking away with that $10 million. You didn't get robbed. And then your business manager, every deal or every record he clears, or sometimes your entertainment lawyer, they're taking some of your money. They're not robbing you. They're taking what's theirs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they have letter of directions. Yeah, they're taking it right out of your check, right? Yeah. You know what I mean? But I'm telling you, deal with the rappers. I've seen it firsthand. And it's a scary thing when you work for somebody when they think that your pay is a gift. Like, all right, bro, here's this money. You'd be like, it's not like you're giving me free cash. It's like, kind of work for this shit, right? So I've just watched that with rappers, and like, I wouldn't do, I won't say every rapper I wouldn't do business with, but the majority of them I wouldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially if you're the background guy.
Steve, man, we're going to have that convo with Steve. So we'll do it. We'll do it for sure.
Yeah, no, we get it done.
But dude, I appreciate you coming. I know you got some stuff to do.
Yeah.
You came super last minute, like for real. Thank
That's
you.
all good.
If you ever need me, even last minute, let me know.
No, of course.
I'll come through. I'm not a rapper.
Yeah.
I won't do you like 6ix9ine, did you?
Hey, see, I'm not on rapper time, but like a rapper today you're ghosted. Like,
oh, bro.
You're done. You're like, you know what I mean? You're done.
I mean,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, like I remember I did the Full Send Pod with, who was it? Was it the Baby? That guy took forever. Oh man.
Yo,
he came in when he wanted to come in, he left as soon as he wanted to leave.
Yo, I waited, I think like 10 hours for Bobby Shmurda when he just got out. I slept at the studio waiting for this motherfucker. They kept telling me, oh, his jet is coming.
What is it?
His jet, like they're like, yo, when he lands, he wants to pull right up there. I'm like, can't you just tell me when he's actually even here? They're like, nah, like, yo, just be on standby. All right.
What do you think that is? Like, genuine. I know I don't want to keep going to this because we're gonna end it, but like, is it they plan up or they don't care?
Well, put it like this. It's like to kind of, I don't know if I could compare to football. The artist feels like the business doesn't exist without them, and partially they're right, but because of that inflated self, importance. Like, for example, unless it's like Metro Boomin, like, you don't know some of these producers how they look. Like, if you look at how the record business is broken down, the royalties and the publisher, well, not royalties, actually, publishing, which means the intellectual property of who owns the record is split half with the producer and half with the rapper. But you don't know who the producer is a lot of times. You don't know the person's face. So the rapper is now, they're the star. And then they start to realize the producer, you're faceless. You don't have that much leverage. They then start to realize this industry is all revolved around them. What they feel when they want to move. So what intuitively happens is that they pretty much start devaluing everyone's contribution and devaluing you to the point where, like, put it like this, like, it's only few people, like, theoretically in an amazing world, you get Scooter Brawns that pop up. Scooter Braun used to manage Justin Bieber, right? That's a guy, like, if you ask me, he got more money than Bieber now. Why? Super strategic. He took the money he got from there. He worked with other artists, bought catalogs. Like, that's a guy who worked behind the scenes to become the mogul he is, right? That doesn't happen a lot of times to rappers because as soon as, put it like this, and I've heard this about a rapper sees, he spent all his money on chains, all type of shit, bitches, everything, right? He sees his manager pull up in a foreign car. So how the did you get that? So you got it from the money you gave me. You know what that rapper's thinking? I'm giving you too much money. That's the problem. You know what I mean? Fuck. So instead of thinking, real talk, like, instead of saying that, yo, you just wasted your money and his little 20%, he's, like, using wisely and maybe he has one nice thing, you look at him, you're like, what the fuck? Wait, you're buying Maybachs with my money? Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's how it's seen, bro. I'm telling you, it's crazy.
It's just ego shit.
Yeah, of course.
It's ego and just not knowing.
I'm telling you, rappers, I'm not saying they're the worst people, but most egotistical. I can't figure out no other genre where there's just a complete selfishness. And I don't think it's all music. I really think it's rappers.
Damn.
Tell you.
Fuck. Well, on that note, man.
On that note, man,
I gotta go.
thanks
eat.
for having me, brother.
Yes, thank you, man. Thank you for coming.
No, of
I
course,
appreciate it.
we'll definitely do it again.
Yeah.
We'll do it with Steve, and we'll do one for my pod. So
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for your time, man. Make sure you guys subscribe every Tuesday, 11. We're on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube. Drop a comment, drop a like. I love you guys. I'm out of here. Thank you.